What's going on, guys? It's Eddie from over in Tactical Edge Trading. Just going to give you a Sunday weekly rundown. That's what I do every Sunday for myself and the group, Tactical Edge Trading. We got some big things to talk about this week. FOMC, rate cut decision on Wednesday. I'm going to. So, if we're looking over at Forex Factory, this is where I like to get a lot of my big events that are in the market. Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern. We're going to get the Fed rate decision and FOMC statement. And at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, we're going to get the FOMC press conference. That's when Jerome Powell is going to speak. And if you guys aren't familiar with this event, it's pretty volatile across most markets. Don't know what else to tell you about that. If you're a trader, my advice to you, be very cautious trading this event. It's next to gambling, in my opinion. What I would recommend, and by the way, none of this is financial advice, guys, so just keep that in mind. What I'd recommend, let the dust settle. You're usually going to get some type of fake move on the day of. Maybe two fake moves sometimes we get. The first one's usually the fake one. Sometimes you get another one. So keep an eye out for that. Let the dust settle after he's done speaking, and let the market digest things. We also have the Bank of Japan that night. They're going to be giving their rate decision. Now it says tentative here for a reason. What they like to do over in Japan is they wait for us to see what our rate decision is before they make any announcement. They're pricing in no change. We're pricing in 0.25%. I think last time I checked, it was about 98% priced in. We have a few other events this week. We have the euro. Europe's got some monetary policy going on. We got core PCE and employment cost index on Friday. Those are things that just, they're not really necessarily market movers as FOMC is, but you still want to keep an eye on those events. The big things we got to worry about this week, minus FOMC, we have earnings on several big stocks, which I'm actually going to go into. First one being Apple. Earnings. It's on the 30th, so it's on Thursday. So the day after FOMC. Let's just get a quick overview of the chart. What's happening here? Look, Apple has been up only. We're in this rising channel. We slipped the channel back in April. A lot of that back in March, April. A lot of that had to do with tariff scares, stuff like that, with this whole trade war we had. But it's been up only. I do have some targets in mind. We have broken the all-time high. You can see by this line right here. So all-time high has been breached. So going into this event, you have FOMC, and then you have earnings the next day, sitting just above all-time high. My takeaway on this one, be cautious. There's going to be some mess. They're going to mess around in this level. If you start to lose 260, your next major level is not down to about 240, 242. This is going to be your next level of support. You can kind of see back here on Apple, they put a high in and kind of held this high. I'm going to pull from the wicks, not from the wicks, from the body. So this high, this level around 244, 243 has a little bit of support, has a little bit of weight to it. So these are the levels I'm watching to the downside going into that event. What I'd be watching to the upside here is probably going to be this 285, top of the channel. Because we're going into price discovery, we really don't have much to go off of when it comes to these kind of things, looking to where price may go. There's a few methods you can use. One, I like to look for a trend, something that's easy for the eye to see, something that you can kind of connect the dots at this end of the day. Anybody can connect the dots. You just take a line, you find a few points of confluence where it taps that line, and you run it through. It's a trend line. So this is a level I'll be watching, 285 and into about 300. 300 because it's like a psychological number. You can see kind of how price, when it got into the 200s here, right? So when it got to about 180, 185, we hit the top of that channel before. It's kind of weird, right? It's 185 here, and then we got 180, 180, 180. I'm sorry, 280, 285 right up here on the top of this channel. It's kind of interesting. You'll find patterns like that a lot of times in charts. Just pay attention to them. People are weird. The mind goes to weird places, especially investors and traders. We think like that. What I would watch for is going to be 200. You can see when we got to 200 before, price actually stalled out pretty hard. It's just a psychological number. People hear whole numbers and they're going to take profits. So I'd imagine when we get up to, if we do get up to 300, if it does decide to go up, that's a level you're going to have to watch. If you're in this, maybe take some profits going into it or protect yourself. Move your stop up, however you decide, however you trade or invest. But 285 is going to be my first level, and then 300 will be my second level on this. I'm going to move to Microsoft next. We have earnings on this one as well. This one I find kind of interesting. Now, look, I'm looking at a weekly, but I'm going to actually go down to a lower time frame for this one and kind of give you a little bit more of an analysis on this, because I think this one, there might actually be a play on it. So Wednesday, same day as FOMC. What's happening right here? So we're kind of in a little bit of an uptrend, right? Sorry, I just read Ben's text. It's gonna make me blush, guys. Anyway, look, we're in an uptrend. We have some support underneath us where the original breakout, the all-time high was before this break. That's at 468. What I find very interesting here, we're kind of wedging out. You call it a wedge, bull pennant, whatever you want to call it. What you do with these patterns, you take the measured move from basically the base, the thickest area of the wedge. Breakout to the upside would take us to about 575 if it were to break this pattern. Now, if we were to break to the downside, this is what I find really interesting. Take us back down to that 468. Measured move takes us here. I don't believe in coincidences in the market. I think that's considered confluence, in my opinion. When I look at my indicators, not really telling me much on the higher time frame. Let me get rid of this real quick. On the higher time frame, look, things don't look terrible on the daily. They don't look bad. Money flow is coming out. This is Market Cipher. With money flow coming out, usually that dictates that's what you need to watch. I can also pull up, and what I'll explain in a second, I can also pull up volume here. I'll get rid of Market Cipher for a second so you can see what I'm talking about. Volume's kind of fading right now. So I think it's really going to be one of those things where you probably don't want to play it inside. You're going to want to wait for a breakout and retest, a confirmation on either end. That's how I would play this if you're looking for that. Again, not financial advice. I'm just going to draw some lines, kind of what I'm seeing. Something like this, take us up there, and inversely. And I'll explain in a second why this is significant. So, just forget about that one right there, but you kind of get my drift, right? Little breakdown, retest, pop down to this level. So it's kind of what I'm looking for in the coming days. Now notice that it gets close to the apex of the triangle, right? Right around earnings. So we're getting tight. We're getting ready to make a break. It's up or down here. How you want to play that, that's on you. If you're if you're an investor, maybe something to keep an eye on. I just, again, I don't believe in coincidences. So this is something I'm going to keep an eye on myself. I'm going to go to Meta now. Let me zoom out a little bit on this one. So Meta has been climbing. You can see by the trend. I was not going to watch the chat. I should not have looked at that. You guys are getting ignored the entire time. I didn't want to show my face on camera the first few times I streamed, but Ben talked me into it over time. But yeah, so look, we're in an uptrend, pretty strong uptrend. Tariff scare, we dipped down below, we deviated, but we managed to reclaim it. We're right up against it right now. We're actually not too far off from a bounce. We have earnings on Meta coming up on Wednesday, FOMC day. Kind of get my drift here. Everything's kind of lining up for midweek next week. I think there's going to be some big moves in the market, up or down. We go down to a daily. It doesn't look too bad to me. What I'm seeing here is we're getting a daily break right here. This is a break of the high, the previous daily high. We don't have a daily market structure shift just yet, but we're going to mark this high down here, right? Keep an eye on this. And we're going to go down to the 4 hour and see what we got on the 4 hour. So the 4 hours got a little bit more going for it. So we had a low put in, high, higher low. You can even argue that this was a higher low. And we have a break of structure, whether it's here or whether you want to consider it here on the 4 hour. Either way, it's starting to show me that the lower time frames are starting to line up a little bit, right? It's giving me a little bit of a hint. Now if I go down here and draw this trend here, well, look, we broke trend. We're bouncing off major support. We even swept the liquidity down here on Meta. Now this is what I find interesting. When you start to see things like this, it's telling you, the market's kind of painting a picture for you, right? So we didn't take much, but we took enough. We breached it. This low was tapped. It was violated. Now they're reversing and they're starting to shift structure. It's telling you what's the next level to go for. Well, I don't see any other highs on the 4 hour besides the all-time high. We're just below the all-time high, which may be telling you that that could be potentially a target. Now, if it were to come back down, let's say it does lose this level, kind of what I'm watching for. If it starts to lose this level, this now becomes resistance. This level that we failed to break will now become a resistance area for me. So what I'm looking for, one of two things: a breakdown, maybe some type of lower high, and then a retest down here. Maybe they left something behind. Maybe they want to sweep a little bit more liquidity or put a higher low in before they actually try to make the break on the higher time frame, which would be the daily. If it's not ready just yet, this could be a potential. Now you start losing this trend, you have to imagine that things are going to flip bearish pretty quickly. So you have to keep an eye on that. This would be my invalidation to a long. Any long would be down this trend break. I wouldn't even be looking for longs at that point. I'd be looking for the opposite of a long, which is a short. Anyway, so these are some levels to watch. You have this high here on the daily, and you have this level that we're sitting at right now on Meta, around 736, give or take. I'd watch this one going into earnings. This one's another one that looks like it could go, has potential to go up, but I think you can't assume anything or take that gamble until we get past that earnings and get past the FOMC. And I think once we see something, it's gonna give its tell regardless. If it breaks this level here, right, comes back down and puts in a higher low or retests this level, higher low, retest, I'm good with any of that. There's probably a play back up. It's probably going to make its way back up to this high around 792. It doesn't surprise me, right? Remember how I talked about the whole numbers thing? It doesn't surprise me that they front ran 800. Like, look what they did. Right around 800. They front ran. And they put in a little double top. We saw something like that a little bit ago in Apple. And they're pulling back initially, you know. This is some sellers. This is a whole number. Remember the psychological numbers we talked about. This is very similar. So use this as a high to watch, this 790 to 800. And I would say your low to keep in mind is 700. You're pretty much between those. So kind of the directions I'm expecting this thing to go within the next few days. It wouldn't be surprised if it does absolutely nothing going into Wednesday. Maybe just chop sideways. But I think moving forward, this is probably going to be something to watch. This is actually, all three of these were given to me by Ben earlier. He gave me a little tip. So I went and looked at them. And he's on to something. So that's why I said, had the TA on. Okay, look, Amazon. Give me 1 second. I shouldn't have looked at the chat again. You guys are making me lose my composure. Look, same scenario here, right? We're trending up. Tariff scares, dip down, we reclaimed. This is the first retest. This one, in my opinion, looks the juiciest. Thursday the 30th, another earnings. Notice everything's kind of building up for that midweek. We got the whole market's kind of doing the same thing. What do we got here? Love when I see stuff like this. This is probably like, this gets me excited when I start to see things just like look so perfect like this. I'm like, this could be a good play. Like, I don't know if you trade these kind of things, but you're a trader. What does that look like? Sorry, I'm getting like malfunctions of the mouse right now. What's that starting to look like too? I know what it looks like. I'm not going to say it, but it looks like a bull flag coming into key support. If I go to my, this is the best part, right? You can kind of see a little bit on the stochastic RSIs, and you can see it on the daily market cipher, bullish divergence. When I start to see things like this lining up, going into a key support, it's telling me something. It's giving me a clue what direction. In look, it may still have some downside in the short term, but it's giving me clues of what direction is more probable when I start seeing things like this. So I'm gonna pull up my volume here. So we talked about the bullish divergence going into key support. We have a recognizable pattern, and I pull up the volume. Volume doesn't look terrible. The one thing I will say about volume: high, low, higher, high. The lows have been kind of flat, right? And we're putting in a new high. It doesn't necessarily matter if volume is spiking super high or super fast. It's a matter of what direction is it generally heading. This is kind of giving me a clue that as price is consolidating, right? Price starts consolidating like right around here where it puts the high in. Volume's still moving up. Volume's generally heading in the upwards direction as it's consolidating. It's giving me clues. It's letting me see what I want to see that will give me confidence to say that there's a good chance if this starts to break this level right here, and I'm going to zoom in on the lower time frame. If it starts to breaks this trend, there's a very good chance it's probably gonna go for the all-time high. Very good chance. Not far off from the top of this flag. If I were just to look at, I'm gonna get rid of volume real quick. Clean this up a little bit. So if I'm just looking at this high and I'm looking at this little flag, I mean, it gives you a level to watch in the short term. We need to watch this level here. So I would imagine they stop short of the all-time high. They're loading up. They're gearing up for something. We got earnings in FOMC. So it's do or die for this thing right now. It's either going to break, make its move up, and attempt that high again, or it's going to start probably a bear. I would say for this token, if it starts to break this trend, it's probably going to go into a bear market. It would probably be when there's a bear market. I mean, this is a I said token, this stock. So I'd be watching this one. I think this one's a good one to watch in the short term. I'm going to show you one more thing that makes me kind of gives me a clue where this is going. What do you see here? And if you understand market structure, you know what I'm talking about. Right? We put a low in, put a high, higher low, and then we broke that previous high on the 4-hour. This is a 4-hour market structure shift right here. What I need to see at this point, I don't want to take a long. If you're thinking about trading this, it's not smart to take it into resistance. You want to see some type of trend hold. Let's see if we can identify a trend on this thing. So on the notice I have to go into the lower time frames. There's a reason for that. If anybody's like new to trading and doesn't understand what I'm doing, and I'll just kind of like explain it. When you're going down to the lower time frames, you're trying to zoom in. You start from the higher time frames, you kind of work your way down to try to find levels of interest. So look, we have a little bit of a trend going here. You couldn't see this trend necessarily on the daily or you could barely even see it on the 4-hour, but you can see it. I just erased my trend, of course I did. Anyway, I've got a little bit of a trend here. So I'll be watching this trend. If price starts to break down from this trend, you're probably headed back down to this level here. Probably down to the trend, probably down to the low. That'll probably be the target around 210 and see what happens there. Maybe it's just not ready to make its move up. But if it holds, puts in another high and starts to crack, and we see a back test, that would be something I'd be looking for that would take us to the previous high and maybe the all-time high if it's ready to make that attempt. Looks like it's gearing up for something. And going into a big date like that, going into Q4, typically a bullish time. I'm sure you guys have heard of like Q4 being the best time in the market. Well, see things like this, you got to pay attention. That's all I'm going to say there. I'm going to move on to my next chart. Let's go look at the NASDAQ real quick. We talked about this the other day. What I want to point out on the NASDAQ, all right, we're in this little channel. Notice everything's kind of following this, but you have noted, if you've seen some of the coins, or not coins, stocks. I gotta say, stop saying coins. We'll get to the coins eventually. It's probably that's what's on my mind right now. Anyway, a few of the stocks I just showed you were in upper channels, right? Uh, the Nasdaq's hit it. The S&P has something very similar going on. Spoiler alert. Just to kind of give you that, something very similar going on. It's at the top of this channel. It's pretty much either going to break out, and we're going to see a nice run up in this thing, or this thing's ready to pull back. And I think the first area of interest you need to watch for a pullback is probably going to be this 25.20, 220. There is a CME gap. All right. There is a gap that a lot of times these things get filled within, I think, a few days of the gap. The markets are closed right now. This gap happens when this is a futures market we're looking at right here. So you have a gap down to about 25,400. I would watch. I would 100% watch that. There's a very good likelihood they may pull back. Going into a big event, you have a very volatile day on Wednesday. There's going to be some movement. There's likelihood this is going to get filled. So for your day traders, this is something you could watch. If it decides it's going to continue down, the next level of support, like I said, is going to be at 25,200. That'll be the next level to watch the downside. It can come back down here and backtest and still be in a bullish structure. It could still be bullish at the end of the day. If it breaks, this thing's probably going to run. It's probably going to run a decent amount. Just because usually when you break these things, when they're going up like that, it's typically when things kind of go a little parabolic. I mean, this is a big asset. I don't really know if that's going to happen. My guess is this thing may just chop sideways, mess around up here for a little bit, and then kind of like we see in crypto, where you see Bitcoin make its move up, move sideways for a while, and then you'll start to see smaller like altcoins or like lower cap coins run. Similar, I think you see some type of distribution like that possible in the traditional markets as well. If you start to see NASDAQ, S&P start to move sideways, you've already seen gold pulling back, and I'll get to gold in a little bit. You'll tend to see other things move. People want to reallocate risk. It's just a thing. You're up on your bet, right? You made a ton of money on big stock, or like you've been in NAS for a while. You made a lot of money. You're like, okay, I got some profits to play with now. That's how investors think. So they'll roll it into a riskier asset that hasn't run. So they'll basically go to lower cap stocks, indices, that kind of stuff, and then they'll move their money around. And you'll see that, especially because we're going into, well, we just started a new quarter, so you're probably there probably is some rotation going on, and you probably will see some rotation, especially because monetary policy is changing. That's just my opinion on it. You take what you want from that. I'm just gonna speak in my mind on it. So watching for these levels. I mean, to the upside, I guess you really have to watch the whole numbers here. I mean, look, you get up to 26K. I'd imagine there's going to be some profit taking. I mean, we kind of front ran 23 here. Let me see what 24 looked like. 24, we front ran it just a little bit, right? We got up to 25. We overshot it just a little bit before we pulled back. And every time you hit one of these levels, there's a big pullback. So psychological number is going to be 26,000 if this thing decides to move up. I'd imagine that's when you'd see a pullback, maybe a back test of this. If it's going to hold, then you're probably going to go higher. And if not, it's probably going to break back down into this channel. And if it does reject, whether it breaks through and rejects, or rejects back in and gets acceptance, or whether it rejects here, at some point you have to imagine, it's just kind of playing ping pong on these levels. It could hover up here for a while like it did before, but at some point there will be a pullback to the bottom to test support. People will they'll stop wanting to buy at these high levels, and they're going to want cheaper. So keep that in mind if you're looking at NAS. I look at the S&P, something exactly the same. I could basically give you just say everything I did on the NASDAQ and repeat on the S&P. Same scenario. Let's talk about the level. 7,000, simple. Psychological number. You can see we probably did the same thing here. 6,000, we got up here, we chopped around, pulled back, came back up, and then we had a major pullback. If I go back down to 5,000, there was probably something similar around 5,000. Actually, no, they overshot 5,000. No, here we go, right here. 4,800. We got up to 4,800. We never got to 5,000 before we had a major correction. And probably the same scenario around 4,000 somewhere. Had a little bit of a pullback here at 4,000, right? It wasn't huge, but it was a pullback. So these whole numbers make sense. There's a common theme going around. You're going to see that in the market. That's just, you stare at enough charts, look at enough different assets, you start to notice that things follow. It's people. These are people behind these candles, and people think the same, or traders do at least. So I'm going to go to gold real quick before I get into the last two. So gold is in a precarious spot. It's uptrending. Had a major rejection, right? I think we got up to what, 43.70 something. Yeah, almost 4,400, which is impressive, right? Gold typically will pull back before most other assets because it's the lowest on the risk curve. Or there's, people invest in gold and they'll hold it and they'll put their money into gold because it's a less risky asset. It's a hedge against inflation. It's a hedge against, the dollar, everything. I mean, people in times of fear and panic, people will move into precious metals, commodities. They make sense. Gold's had its run. Do I think it's pulling back just yet? I don't know. It's going to pull back further. I'm not sure yet. There may be a bounce here still. But the one thing I don't like, if I go down to the 4-hour, starting to look like a little bit of a bear flag. So gold really needs to break these highs. It's got to start doing something. It's had 3 attempts at this 4150 level and has yet to do anything. So it's kind of hovering down here. You don't want to see that. I look at some of my oscillators and they're all pointed down at this point. The money flow doesn't look terrible, but gotta watch it. You have to watch it at these levels because if gold breaches this, it's probably going to dump hard. Now, the level to watch to the upside is just going to be this 4150. You got to get above this level. If you don't, you have to expect that they're going to want to go lower for bidders. No one's going to want to buy up here. You also kind of got a little bit of weird looking head and shoulders going on. Look, gold can chop around here for a while. But what this tells me is money's moving out of gold. It's going somewhere. So keep an eye out for that. Money moves. It typically goes somewhere. It's either going into the dollar, it's going into bonds, it's going into stocks, it's going into crypto. You just have to figure out where the money's going at the end of the day. And this is a big market cap. I think it's like 38 trillion, 40 trillion. And it had about a 9% pullback. So, I think it was like 3 or 4 trillion was what I calculated the other day when we were talking about this in the group. And that's the equivalent of crypto's market cap, which is funny. I think it's ironic. 9% pullback for them is our entire market cap, speaking from crypto. So I'm actually going to get into Bitcoin real quick. We're going to talk about some big things that had happened today on Bitcoin. Let me check the chat first and make sure there's no questions. Great analysis. Thanks, Brian. Somebody said it looks like, what did you say? Hold on. What did you say? This guy looks like the guy who pulled me over and gave me a seatbelt ticket. Dude, if I pulled you over, there's 100% chance I did not give you a seatbelt ticket. I know for a fact I didn't give a seatbelt ticket because I don't give a shit about seatbelts. That was the last thing I was looking for. You almost got laughed at giving people traffic tickets. The only time you give somebody a traffic ticket is when you arrested them, and where I was a police officer at, because I worked in a bad neighborhood. And if you're giving someone a traffic ticket, like a normal person, a traffic ticket, that's food off the table. It was a poor neighborhood, and I wouldn't believe in that. But also, if you're giving somebody a traffic ticket, it's because you had probable cause to pull them over and you arrested them or something, so you needed it for court. So I was like, that was pretty much it for me, man. I didn't believe in especially seatbelts, because you always get that excuse. Oh, I took it off when you pulled me over. Okay, I'm not even gonna argue with people about that. But yeah, dude. So look, BTC. I told you guys, don't fade support. We were down here. It was looking bad. But I was like, you're at support. I don't want to short this. And look at that weekly close. That weekly close is not bad. It wasn't a terrible weekly close. Now, It's not a full bullish engulfing, but it's pretty damn close. It shows some intent. So this week is really going to be the make or break, in my opinion, for the Q4. I think if we don't get some commitment one direction or the other, we're going to get commitment one direction or the other this week from Bitcoin. I think probabilities. I mean, I'm still undecided. I don't know if it's going to go up or down. If I look at my indicators, though, there's some positive stuff, man. You got money flows still green. We just got a daily green dot print, so the momentum shifting back to the upside on the day. Oh, that's the weekly. I'm sorry. I'm only on the weekly. So this is good signs. Stochastic RSI starting to point up. Let me go look at volume real quick. Volume's probably not going to be good at all. Yeah, volume just doesn't look great. But I'm also on Binance Perps, so take that one a grain of salt. I don't trust them anymore. Not after everything that happened with that the other day or a couple weeks back. Anyway, Bitcoin's in this range. I got to go down to the daily to kind of give you a little bit more context of why this is so great. So we officially broke daily market structure today. We have a daily close above the previous high. Low, high, higher low, break a structure on the daily. I mean, that's pretty bullish to me. Now look, we still have to break this level. There's no real telling what's going to happen until we get to 116. So 116, there was liquidity stacked. We did sweep a lot of it, and I'll kind of give you my thesis on what I think could possibly happen in the next couple days or week. So, look, we're coming up to this level. It's a weekend pump. Do I think they don't just take the rest of this? I think they're going to go for it. I think we've come this far, and if we don't, it's probably even better. If we sweep this, you have to expect that they're coming back down, and they're going for liquidity somewhere. So I don't think it's all the way down at 106, but it doesn't mean it's out of the question. So I'm going to build my base case here, and I'm going to show you why it makes sense. I've got a little bit of a trend here. I'm going to go down to the 4 hour to actually do this, so you guys can see a little bit more context on what's going on with BTC. Look, we have a little bit of a trend. It's got 3 touches. It's a trend. We have so depending on where this goes, all right, I'm not going to pull from there. I'm going to pull from this low here. So depending on where this goes, maybe it gets up to here. Can't really pull a fib just 100% yet, but I'm going to assume it's going to get somewhere around this level, right? I could throw in a little golden pocket here just as a base case level of where price could bounce if we did have a rejection. It doesn't necessarily guarantee it's going to bounce. We just look for those areas. And we have one more thing to look at here. I pull an anchored VWAP. We're kind of hovering around this 110, and I can actually pull one from the low too. This is the low right here. So it kind of gives us a hot zone right here between about 110.3 and down to 109.2. Now remember this number, right? I'll take you over to the liquidity heat maps real fast and show you why this is important. So this is the 3-day chart, and this shows liquidations. Look where the hot zone's at. This is where everything's lighting up. It's at 109.3, 109.2, 109.6, this whole area. If we pull back, very good chance they're coming for this liquidity. If you've ever watched this chart or if you ever used this chart, it's called CoinAnk. It's the liquidation heat map. They move through this thing like like if you're playing a game of Pong. It just goes liquidity to liquidity. You'll watch it bounce. You'll see liquidity on the board, unless it's like some crazy something down at like 50K. Like, there was some stuff that never got filled before that was sitting down really low on BTC. Some whale maybe waiting for price to get there and like in the bear market or something. Anyway, if we pull back, very good chance this is an area. For me, that shows me confluence of like with this golden pocket. We have a pretty decent low right here too, around this 109.6. It just kind of makes sense if we did pull back. This could be a level. I mean, we've already broken structure on the daily. It wouldn't be crazy, and I'll go back up to the daily for this one. It wouldn't be crazy to come back and put in a higher low and continue the uptrend, maybe retest it. And we got some volatile things happening in the next couple days. FOMC. I don't know if there's Trump's talking on. There's rumors that he's talking on Thursday. I know he's speaking with with China about the tariffs, and they're just kind of reassuring people. Apparently, Besant might even have a deal already with them in the works. So I think there's going to be an announcement on Thursday. So this is a crazy week. That's all I got to say. Big things are going to happen, up or down. I think it's going to be great if you're a trader and if you're patient and you're willing to wait. So price maybe comes up. If it flips this zone, we look for the back test somewhere. Maybe it's here. Maybe it's there. Who knows? And then it's probably going to fill this wick. It's a low volume gap right here. See how volume fades out? It's going to move very quickly. But I don't think it's just going to blast through here. I think it's probably going to get rejected its first time. It's whether how deep of a pullback we get if it's going to continue up. They like to guard these things. This becomes resistance. These low volume gaps are protected. So I think the first pass at it probably going to be a decent short in that play. Not again, not financial advice. You do you. Paper trade it for all I care if you want to see if it works. But very good chance you're probably going to get a little play off that. I'm sure if it doesn't happen tonight, we'll be watching it tomorrow in New York in our Discord. That being said, look, if you're new, if you're watching this, you're looking for a trading community, a real trading community, people who actually trade the markets and know what they're doing and, learn from each other, different styles of trading, sharing charts, sharing ideas, helping each other grow, accountability groups. Check out our Discord, Tactical Edge Trading. Everything's in the bio. We have a free Discord. You can join that if you're looking to see a little bit more. If you want to really know what trading's about, like if you already have like a basis on trading and you're hitting the markets, you just want a group to live trade with. Check out our premium. Our premium, we do live trading Monday through Friday in New York. We do Asia live sessions where I give setups, give plays. It's not a signals group. I'm going to tell you straight up. We don't do that kind of stuff, but we share ideas, just like you see me doing here. And it's your choice if you want to take a trade or not take a trade. But we throw what we see in the market, and we got some killers in the group. So check us out. But yeah, this is kind of what I'm saying. Maybe we pop up, maybe get initial rejection that first time, come in, put a higher low. Another scenario is maybe we come down to this level. I'm gonna go back down to this. Maybe we do get that initial rejection, right? And then we come back down, get a back test somewhere down here, and then we take off. Like all these things are possible. Or we reject, we just roll over and die. Like you can't rule anything out here. But this level is going to be important. I think it's at 116. I think we have to watch it. And I think to the downside, you got to keep an eye on 109.3. This just in general area. And if we break above and we manage to sustain, the next level really is until about 122. And I'd imagine if we come up here, we're probably taking the highs. I think this is basically this what stands between us and all-time highs, in my opinion. Just the way this thing has been moving. I mean, it's not going to make its way all the way back up here and not go for these highs. Like, what's the point? This is where the liquidity is. It's where the real liquidity is. So, kind of what I'm watching for the week on BTC. There's some good things in the mix. 4 hour does look a little overheated. It may continue on, but it does look like at some point it's going to need to cool off. The daily looks like it's just getting started. The daily could be up for a little bit. And then when I go to the weekly, I mean, like I said, the weekly just looks like it's just getting ready to go. So I think the big thing we also have to watch before I flip from BTC and go into my my whole little rant, which is the second half of what this whole stream is about. Look, monthly close. There's a statistic out there. Can't speak tonight, guys. So there's a statistic out there. I sound like Ben when he streams. That if you print a bullish September in Q4, post-halving year, every month to follow will be green for the next 3 months. So October, November, December. We are just flipping green on October. It's been a very volatile month for ups and downs. I mean, we went all the way down to 100K practically, and we're up at 126. So we've been up and down here. If this prints green, I would say your next 2 months are most likely going to, if you're just following statistics, nothing else, that is a higher probability that the next 2 months are probably going to print green as well. You can go back and back test that. I've done it myself. I'm not going to do it right now. We just don't have time for that. But you either take my word or to go back test them. No, but by the way, don't take anybody's word. Do it yourself if you know what you're doing. Go back test because you just need to believe it yourself if you were going to try to trade off that. So look, monthly closes on Friday. That's going to be a big day. There's going to be options expires for both markets. It's going to be a volatile day. This week in general is going to be crazy. I think it's probably going to be one of the better trading weeks of the year. I would not be surprised. Or you're just going to get absolutely wrecked. I mean, if you don't know what you're doing, maybe stay out of the market or just sit on the sidelines. Leave it to the pros. And if you want to become a pro, you can always join the group. So before I go into any altcoins, I'm going to give you guys the path to alt season. Look, I am not saying, when I say alt season, I'm not saying every coin in the market's going to 10x, 20x. You're not going to. Look, things are different. If you haven't figured this out by now, things are different this cycle. There's just way too many coins. There's just not enough market share to go around. And in order for us to have an alt season, money needs to flow out of Bitcoin and into the altcoins. That's what an alt season is. It's basically the top 100 alts outperform Bitcoin. We saw it back here, right here in 2020, when BTC dominance topped out. That was the beginning of alt season. It ran down into this 40% level, right? Bitcoin dominance ran down into this 40% level. And then this entire cycle, believe it or not, everyone's been calling for alt season. And you hear people, alt season, they're all idiots. They have no idea what they're talking about. Alt season has not began because all BTC has done is outperform the alts the entire time. Sure, we've had dips. Like last year, if you guys remember, last year was great, right? The alts ran pretty hard from November into December. I had several alts 10x on me. Not a lot, but several. I've had alts do way more than that. I mean, we saw virtuals do like 5,000, 6,000%. It was insane what the AI agents did last cycle or last year. I said last cycle, but last alt pump or alt rally, right around this time. And it was only a 11% pullback on Bitcoin dominance. We've broken this trend. We know what the target is. You know how I know what the target is? Target's this wick. It's showing us what the target is. When you get these scam wicks, they go back for them. Most times they go back for them. What I think is going to happen, if anything, this cycle plays out like the rest, Bitcoin's going to have to make its move up first. You will see BTC dominance run up. Now, if BTC is moving up and BTC dominance are moving up together, it doesn't necessarily mean the alts are going to die. Some of them may run stagnant. Some of them may actually, the stronger ones may follow Bitcoin. Normally when we see Bitcoin run up, even when we see BTC dominance going up simultaneously, oftentimes the alts kind of float up too. But you don't really see the real alt move until BTC stagnates out and this thing starts to fall. That's showing us distribution or like basically reallocation from Bitcoin into altcoins. You're going to see it with bigger tokens like Ethereum, Solana, XRP maybe, depending on if XRP is still going to be alive. It's doing all right this cycle. I mean, you'll see it on BNB. I mean, you can't even fade BNB anymore. So look, we're looking for a breakdown of this, but we need to see BTC go up first because if BTC doesn't lead the way, there is no alt season. BTC has to go up. It needs to put its top in. We need to see the distribution out of BTC, which we haven't seen all cycle. We see it in little spurts, but we haven't seen the full distribution into alts. That's the top. When that happens, you know it's about to be over. Like this is the end of the cycle. So be prepared. If we do see this thing starts crashing down, it's not gonna last forever. It didn't last very long last time. Let me see what it lasted. So from December to about May, but then we chopped around for the whole year, and it was okay for a little bit, but we pretty much ended. I think we ended in like November 21. So we got what? It wasn't that long. I mean, last year was actually pretty long. Last cycle was pretty long. longer than this cycle, but maybe we see something like that. Maybe we get a couple months of the alts running, possibly. I don't know. Nobody knows. We're just speculating here. But this needs to run up. Probably going to run up back test while BTC makes its climb. And then we need to see a sharp rejection. And then kind of like we saw, maybe it doesn't explode. Maybe it blows up past this top. Just kind of like it did back here and ran up. Do I think it's going to get to 73%? Probably not. There's just too many stable coins in the market now that are just kind of making this a lot harder for BTC to run up, and just a lot more market share like floating in other places. So that's the first chart. And again, path to alt season. We need to see stablecoin dominance. USDT dominance is what I use. I just use it as an oscillator. We need to see this thing start to break down. It's going to have to break this level, and we're going to need to see, look, when we topped out last December, this thing was bottomed right here, right? And then it bounced and we got crushed. Everything got crushed. We need to see this breached. This is going to have to come down. This cannot break this trend. If this starts to break this trend and run up, it's problems. Like, you're probably not going to see an alt season at that point if it starts to close above this. We are showing rejection here. We just got a pretty bearish weekly candle. I'm waiting to see what happens. This thing starts to run down. Good. Signs are good, but we want to break this. Others BTC is the next chart. Look, last cycle when alt season happened, we were bottomed out here at about like 0.07. In August 19th, we're bottom out here again. So we're down here. We wicked down here with others BTC. There's a chance it's going to come back down. If BTC dominance starts running, your alts will bleed to BTC, but doesn't necessarily mean they're going to lose dollar valuation. Wouldn't it be crazy to see this chart make another leg back down, right? And then it breaks this trend. When this trend cracks, that's when your alt season starts. That's when, when you start to break this trend, that's when you can start thinking those three things: BTC dominance, make its move up, but initially coming down, putting in, making its sharp move down, USDT dominance breaking down, others BTC breaking trend. I'll show you something on ETH to kind of give you an example why these levels matter. Look, last time when ETH ran, it hit. When ETH ran this cycle and ETH ran last cycle, it all bottomed at this level. It's an oscillator. This is its ETH to BTC pairing. All it is an oscillator at the end of the day. And this date, when we bottomed out on ETH BTC, I'll show you what ETH did. ETH was right here, right in this area. And then it made its run to its all-time high. If we see something like that on others, I would expect you're probably going to see others make its run to its all-time high. Doesn't mean all your altcoins are going to do that, but some of them will. Some of them definitely will. So that's just kind of context on why others BTC bottoming out matters, because we didn't see ETH pump until its Bitcoin pairing bottomed out. And then the last thing I'm going to show you, probably call me crazy for this one, but I don't know. I see it. Maybe other people don't see it. So I'm going to get rid of this for a second. This cycle has been kind of weird. We haven't had like a massive pump up like we did last cycle. It's been kind of like yearly pumps. And when do the pumps happen? They don't happen. We pretty much run sideways or down the entire year, and we get a few months of pump. October of 2023, we were in an upwards channel. We bottomed out in mid-October, and then we ran. We broke the channel, and we ran up. We ran up a good amount, right? From bottom of channel to the top. Others ran up about 215%. It was about 6 months of pump. 5-6 months. Then we were pretty much from March to about October of 2024, all downwards and sideways. But what did it do? We were in an upwards channel. We bottomed out late October, early November, right? We had the election last year, so that we actually didn't start moving until after Donald Trump got in. We broke the channel, and then we ran up, breaking the previous high, right? I'm going to get a little weird with this one, but let's just look at the percentages, right? Diminishing returns, bigger market cap, 136%. Now, what was the difference between this pump and this pump in 23, in 24? We had the tariff scare. We put in a higher low. We attempted. That's when we got rugged by the Fed. The Fed said we're not cutting anymore. That's when inflation was an issue. We had the tariff scare. Trump decided he was going to throw all the tariffs at us. The markets got spooked. So we didn't have that second move up into like Q1, Q2. We were all expecting it. We didn't get it. The markets threw us off. Like the tariff stuff just threw off everything. Anyway, chopping down sideways just until we're in Q4 right now. What are we in? We're in an upwards channel, right? Things are floating around. When we were up here, I said we're coming down here. I told everybody in our group. I was like, we're definitely coming down here. It's just how this plays out every single year. What I didn't expect was Binance to kill everybody and send everything down to zero. Absolutely did not expect that. I mean, I'm not going to get into it, but that was definitely some. I mean, we had a full bear market on some coins in one day. It was like an 80% drop, 90% drop on some coins, on a lot of coins. Anyway, we reclaimed the channel and we're starting to get weekly closures above it. We got our first green candle. We had 2 weekly closures above. Last time, look, every time we pumped here, it's 2 weekly closes and then we ran up. 2 weekly closes, then we ran up to form the bottom. I think we're getting close to a move back up. If we don't break down from here, and it was shaky for a few days last week. I was a little worried, man. Even I was like, I'm like the biggest. I'm like, we're having an alt season. People like probably think I'm crazy, but I don't know. The charts can fit where I'm like everything just is lining up too perfectly. You know, things. Tariff deal kind of coming to an end. QT ending. You already announced QT's ending. We don't know when quantitative easing is going to happen, but we do know we're getting another 25 basis point. We're getting closer to the level that we need to be for pretty much the environment we were in last cycle when alt season happened. So we're down here. If we start to make this climb up, I'm going to show you on the lower time frames like where we're sitting. We start to make this move up and break. That's when you get your alt season. Like this may be the very, very beginning of it. We don't know yet. It's too early to tell. But kind of this is where things get weird. If you draw a line, this little pivot here, where would that take us? So if we were to run up, that would take us somewhere in the 500 billion. It would probably double the market cap on others, maybe, right? Now, diminishing returns, remember, this was around 200%. This was around like 120, 150. This one may be only just a double of that, but what does that take us? That takes us above the previous all-time high, the previous cycle high. That would make sense to me. How much higher it goes, I don't know, but I think that's a level obviously you're going to want to watch. So, hey, look, this is my little thesis on whether we're going to get an altcoin season or not. I think if these things line up and happen, that's when you see your alt season. Doesn't mean everything's going to 10x. You might see a couple, you're going to see some gains on some coins, but there's a lot of chips, man. There's a lot of things out there, and there's just not enough money to really slosh around into all those things. So you have to just keep that in mind. That's kind of my whole piece on that. Ben probably hates me for this. First live session. Thanks, man. I appreciate you being here. I don't even know what Kush is saying right there. Sorry, I don't check the chat. I don't want to see what you guys are writing. Not you guys. Not like, honestly, it's just some of the people in the group. I know they're going to try to mess with me. Anyway, let's get into some local TA. Oh, one more thing on others. Let me go back to that chart real quick. I'll show you the really bullish thing on the lower time frames. We also had a market structure shift on the daily. And your low, high, higher low, daily shift in structure. So anybody who called for the top when we were down here, so everyone said the top of the market, like the market's top, we're done, it's the over. When we were down here, you might have to rethink that because market structure is telling me something different. So this is on BTC. I don't even know if we have that on others. No, this is others. I'm sorry. BTC we already explained we have that. So we have an others daily shift in structure, and we have a BTC daily shift in structure, and the weeklies look good. So there's a lot of things we can do in between here And here, if like that's the top, like that's where we're gonna go. There is 283, 285 to watch out for. We may come back down and retest. We may even put a higher low and back down here. Structure's been broken. We just need to look for that retest. Wherever that higher low is, that retest is, that's where I go long. I don't know where it's going to be yet. We have to wait. We got to be patient. That's where I load up. That's my plan at least. You guys do whatever you want. I don't for just short. We need fuel for the price to go up. They got to squeeze some people out here. So I'm gonna go into some individual coins real quick. So I kind of gave my piece on everything. Someone asked for Ethereum. Look, I'm just gonna start with the daily here. Ethereum is looking good. Like this thing is getting ready to pop, in my opinion. Uptrend. We're bull flagging out into the trend underneath previous all-time high. And and the new, I guess, this all-time high where we kind of double topped. Like when you consolidate underneath a high, pretty good likelihood it's going to break at some point. It's going to go for that high again. I'll show you. We have daily bullish divergence from these lows here. That low that got put in that wick. So we have daily bullish divergence. It's a reversal pattern. I go to the weekly. The weekly starting to point up, right? Weekly starting to curve back up. I look at market cipher right here. Market cipher starting to show me money flow still in the green. My RSIs are stock RSI and regular RSI are both in the bull flag up. Look, this looks like it's going to get ready to break, guys. I mean, look, you can draw you can draw a line on your indicators, by the way, if you didn't know that. It starts to break. VWAP curves to the upside past that zero line. You're going to see a green dot print with the money flow. That's going to be the momentum shift. I go down to my daily. We already have the market structure shift on Ethereum. Look, low, high, higher low, broken. And we have a daily closure above it. So ETH's on its way up. It's looking, obviously it's stronger than others because it leads. Right now we're in BTC season, but when BTC season's over, it's going to be ETH season. Just keep that in mind. Just like we saw in August when ETH was running and it was just outpacing everything. So I wouldn't be too surprised if we're not far away from that. I mean, everything looks good on this thing. I mean, I'm going to give you a target here. This is just me. This is how I like the TA. And you guys can TA however you like the TA. But look, I go to the weekly. This is its climb. If you know anything about how price action moves, whether you're an Elliott wave person, whether you're not an Elliott wave person, things tend to move in threes. I don't know why they do, but they do. It's human psychology, right? So that's your wave one. This is your wave two. This is your wave three. So wave four. And wave five to be determined, right? So how can we get an estimate where wave five goes? Well, we just take the neckline, or not the neckline, we take the flagpole, right? Run that from wherever the break may be. And that is our measured move. Could take us anywhere from 6,500 maybe up to 7,000. I know some people are calling for higher than that. It might not even go that high. Who knows? But that's what the charts are telling me. That would probably be my bet if I was looking for something on Ethereum. Yeah, that's where I see things going on that. If we can break this all-time high, and I think if this bull flag plays out and we get that fifth and final wave, it'll be the one that we need to see. I do think ETH needs to break its all-time high before we're going to see any rotation at all into anything else. ETH needs to clear 5,000 or its all-time high before we're going to see an others rotation. So probably this will lead the way on Altseason, but you're not going to see like smaller caps start to run until this runs. I don't think anybody asked for Solana, but I'll just show it really quickly. Very similar to Ethereum. We have channel 1, 2, 3, 4. There's one more wave coming on this leg. I think if we were just to use the same method I just talked about, just kind of go from the flagpole, and I won't be super greedy about it. Maybe like a 340 Solana. Maybe it goes higher. I don't know. Solana's ran a lot. So, but look, it's in a bull flag. The weekly looks very similar. We got daily structure shift, just like everything else that we talked about. We have bullish divergence on the daily. Weekly looks ready to go. Honestly, the weekly looks better on this one because you have hidden bullish divergence on the weekly if this thing starts to curve up, because this low is lower than this high, this low right here, but the momentum is shift down. That's a hidden bullish divergence. That is a continuation pattern. So what was the trend? The trend was up. This would be a continuation pattern based on how hidden bullish divergence works. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, join the Discord. I'll teach you. So that's just SOL. Not going to get into any lower time frame stuff with this. I'm just looking at the higher time frame. This is, look, this, if you start to see others, BTC start to break out, I mean, a lot of these coins are probably already running at that point or getting ready to run. I'm going to go to BNB real quick. This is a pretty, look, same freaking chart. Things in an uptrend. We had a really bearish candle, but it's starting to recover. It was in an ascending triangle right here. I'm going to go to the 4 hours so you can kind of see what I mean. An ascending triangle. These usually have a higher probability of breaking out to the upside. We can also argue that it was potentially a little complex inverse head and shoulders, right? So there's like two measured moves on this. You can either go with the head, which would take us probably up back to test around. It's going to break us back up above this level, which has been resistance. Now, if you go back here, and I'm just going to show you something interesting on BNB, right? If you pull this line back, right, this resistance has been resistance and support at the same time. We flipped this, it turned into support, and we ran up to that 13.5. Came back down, we lost it, we attempted to reclaim it, we failed, right? Swept liquidity, came back down, and then we went back up. But notice how when it gets back above this, it just shoots right back up to the all-time high. So what do you think is going to happen when this breaks up and actually like reclaims and holds above this? My guess it's probably going to go back for the all-time high. This is a reversal pattern in almost every time I've seen this thing, it's usually a reversal. You can see on the daily, it looks like an inverse head and shoulders. These are reversal patterns. So look, we deviated below. If we can get back above, we're probably coming back up. It moves price moves very quickly in this area. You can see it by the candles. These are daily candles, and 2-3 days up, 2 days down, 1 day up, and it took like 3 days to come back down. So it can move very quickly here. So BNB is going to be one to watch. I'm not even going to bother with the oscillators. I mean, the daily's already got green dot. We have, I think I talked about this last time, we have hidden bullish divergence on the daily. I don't know if we have weekly yet. Weekly still needs to kind of curve back up. So this thing may chop around a little bit. If it doesn't just decide to just rip up from here, if it decides it wants to pull back, maybe it chops around just a little bit more, and then it runs. So I'm going to go look at Ondo because someone asked for Ondo earlier. Ondo looks good, by the way. So just zoomed out on Ondo. Look, we had a massive pump last year. Ondo ran from like 60 cents all the way up to like $2. If you take this wick out, which again, this thing ran down to like 20 cents because they just literally swept their, like they just triggered a giant long squeeze on that giant crash we had a few Fridays ago. We're just in a range. Could this be accumulation? Possibly. If it breaks this level, it's probably going back up to the highs. Maybe higher. This thing is probably one of my favorite coins. It's got hidden, I mean, you could probably argue if you didn't take the wick, it would have been hidden bullish divergence, but it doesn't matter. The weekly's reset. We're very close to a weekly green dot, smaller momentum wave, so the momentum's shifting up, right? If I'm just looking at it on the weekly, I go to my daily. You have the same thing, hidden bullish divergence, right? But we're just a little further behind than everything else, right? Hasn't broken that daily structure yet. And we also have this trend. So the play I'm looking at, and this is what I'm looking for. I want to see a break, daily break of structure, probably going to be some type of pullback at some point, right? Put that higher low in and then break. I'm looking probably to look for longs. Very good chance this thing's probably going to make its way at least back up to here, and then we assess. We'll play it back up to the top. That's a range play. I mean, you look for longs. This if I was on a 15-minute chart, I would scalp this all day. I would either look for the pullback after the initial test, or I would wait for the break, some type of break, and then a pullback onto that back test, and then run it up. That's literally how I trade these things. This is my bread and butter on swing trades. So this is kind of what I'm looking for on that. And then if we get back up here, look, you play it level to level. Maybe it runs up, maybe it breaks, right? And then we look for the back test, and you can run it back up to the next level. You can play it level to level here. If you miss the move, you don't buy in the middle of a range. You look for pullbacks, you look for higher lows, you look for breakout retests, you look for trend breaks, sweeps of liquidity to the downside. There's a lot of different ways you can get in it. Just don't just blindly buy in the middle of a range or on a green candle. That's just dumb. So, yeah, I mean, look, we break out of this thing, you're probably running up probably to the all-time highs, if I'm being honest with you. What did we do? I'm going to show you something that's going to blow your mind too. We did the same crap last year, the same exact thing last year on Ondo. We established a range, all right? We chopped around from August into November, tapped the bottom in November, then we broke out. We back test the range high before we took off. So exactly what I just drew out, that was what I'll be looking for, is exactly what happened last year at the same time of the year. What I'm looking for is history has shown me this. That's how it plays out, and that's why I'm looking for that, because it's happened before. Had a little trend, broke, little back test, run up, back test, and then it had its pump. So maybe that same play is going to happen. Who knows? But that's sometimes how you have to look at things, to kind of try to get an edge, try to get a probability. If I buy alt, it will only be blue chip ones. Dude, I agree with you. Look, here's my advice. If you're not an alt trader, if you're just buying spot, stick to the ones I'm showing you right now. Those are your blue chips: Ethereum, Solana, Tau, SWI, BNB. There's a couple other I could probably name, but I mean, those are the top dogs. Those are the ones that are just, no matter what, thick and thin, they just run. I mean, you can probably make an argument for XRP, and there's probably a few other out there. I'm not saying everything. I'm going to show you a few that I think are probably going to run too. This is Aerodrome Finance. This thing's just hot, man. It's just running, right? So we've been trending up. We had a big break. We've had a very long consolidation. Now, where does this level I'm looking that I have drawn out here, right? Well, if you just take a fib from the low here, pull it up here, it's a 618. It's a golden pocket retrace. Skews the wick. That's all I can say there. It's a 618. We swept liquidity. This is a major low from the August breakout, right? It came back down and took that low. So what you're looking for on Aerodrome, you already have your daily structure shift, which, just remember, this already has a daily structure shift. It looks better than Ethereum does. Like, in comparison, this is stronger looking than Ethereum. That's telling me something. It's in a flag into support. When this breaks, what's next? If you're looking at this on a daily, where's the next bit of liquidity? It's already taken this high here. It's the highs, man. It's going for the highs. If it breaks this flag, that's where it's going. Now, I'm just going to do this because you're probably not going to like it. I don't think the timeline plays out here, where like normally you'd pull the flagpole, but like, look, I see something like this possibly happening, right? That's a flagpole, takes us back to the highs. We probably don't break on the first attempt. You probably get a little bit of a pullback or consolidation. You run back up again. So maybe this happens into December. If we're going to get an alt season, we get a little pullback around that, post Santa rally that we always get into January, and then maybe we get a run up in February, or maybe it just all happens all at once. Maybe we don't get it. Just giving possibilities out there. But anyway, that's what I'm seeing on this one. I think this is one of the stronger coins. I think you have to look at things in perspective to the other stronger things. I think we know Ethereum's strong. We know BTC are strong. This thing looks just as strong as those two. It looks phenomenal, and it's a pretty low market cap coin comparison. So this thing may have some X's behind it if it does decide to break that high. I mean, from here it's a 2.5. It's a 150% move back up to the high. So not bad. That's not a bad one. I'm going to show you Tau real quick. I've already talked about this one. Look, Tau is just in a giant range. I'm going to go to the weekly for this one. Keep it simple. Tau's in a giant range. It looks like it's either accumulating or distributing. My opinion, this is probably accumulation. We pumped. We're chopping sideways. Usually what happens when you do these things, you make one more leg up. So maybe Tau's going back for the highs, right? If this was just a giant flag, it's going to probably go for the high at some point. You can even argue just the channel. Some people pull from the channel. These measured moves, that's not what I'm looking for. But look, if it breaks this high up here, 477, it's probably going for the all-time high. If it breaks the all-time high, who knows? I guess the next psychological number will be 1,000. So I'd be looking up there. That's how most people get these numbers anyway. Let me go look at SWE, then we're going to look at cubic. So SWE, I said this is one of the stronger ones. This is probably one of the better L1s this cycle. I mean, I'm so mad I missed this trade. I was watching this thing too, and it was down at like 50 cents. I'm like, I should probably buy it. And it ran up. This is one of the 10Xs we talked about. SWE was a 10X last year. If you got in, and I know some people in the chat definitely are in this, that's 1,000%. That's a 10X. And it's an L1. So how could you not pay attention to this? Look, SWE's broken daily market structure. It's broken a trend. I can go to the 4-hour and show you how this trend kind of like works out, right? 3 touches, respected it, pulled back, broke it. Anyway, SWE's starting to look good. I think if it can make its way back up and can take this high here around 3.7, it's going to probably get there pretty quickly. If things start to move, this will probably get back up here pretty fast. I think if it starts to break this high, and I threw this trend in here just for perspective, but look, if it breaks this high, I mean, you have to imagine you're just going to sweep all of this. I mean, this is easy liquidity for them to grab, right? So you have all this built up liquidity right here. They're just gonna fly through that if they do get that. And then if it breaks this, I mean, there's nothing between that and the all-time high. So depending on how much volume or how far into the move it is, there's a very good chance if it gets above this level here. I mean, look, we already got past we already have daily market structure shift. If it breaks past this $3 level, it's probably going to sweep all of this stuff here back up into the mid fours. So it's what I'm watching for. I mean, they left all this behind. I mean, I think they're gonna come take this if they start to run it up, and they're gonna take all of it and probably like a pretty quick move. So, SWE's looking good. I'd say it's on the road to getting there, to getting to where it needs to go. Could it put in a new all-time high? Absolutely. I mean, I think, look, the weekly, every time, I'm just going to show you something, a little trick. Every time the weekly's bottom down on the stochastic RSIs and we have a green market cipher dot, what happens right after? I'm going to use a vertical line and just mark this off, right? Those are lows. Those are major lows that get put in, right? We weren't bottomed out here, but we did have a green dot. We didn't get that great of a pump. But look at us now. We're so close to a green dot, and we're bottomed out. And if I'm looking at this, look, VWAP's curving up. We're if we get like if we get one more week of green on SWE, this green dot's printing. Then it'll probably print by next week. We need just one more green candle on the weekly to close. And you're going to get that green dot. And you'll probably get the stochastic RSI to curve up. So it's not far away. Every time it's down here, it does a decent move. I mean, look, this was the real move. This was the great move. This was just kind of like a back test. This is almost like a dead cat bounce, really, what it felt like. But look, bear market in one day. We had the bear. So he's already gone through its bear market, just like a lot of these alts have. So I'm seeing a lot of things in the market right now that look good. Cubic. Someone asked about this one. I asked Ben and Dunky, right? They're in a little group text. And I was like, hey guys, I was like, Dunk, you trade Cubic, right? I'm like, what's the best exchange to like look at it? Like, what has the most reliable data and stuff that's got liquidity on it? And he's like, MEXC. And I think I'm gonna read out his line exactly what he said. This is too funny, man. He's like, the best way to chart cubic is right into the trash. He's just like ruthless about this coin. I was, dude, I was dying for like 10 minutes when he said that. It was so funny. And this is through text that he had me laughing, like rolling on the floor. I was just like, it was so perfectly timed. Look, it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look bad. I'm looking at it on the daily. Look, it's at this low. It's been chopping around. It hasn't even taken the March low of this year. Everything else dumped dramatically. I mean, yeah, we swept this range. We swept all of it. It also happens to be a 786 fib pool from this low to this high. And it's holding. And you're up against trend. You're right up against the trend. I mean, it looks like it's getting ready to go any day. I mean, if it breaks that trend, I have to imagine it's going to run. It's got daily bullish divergence, all right, on a key support. We know it's key support because it's 786. It's also support from in the past. We ranged here forever. If this thing breaks, it's probably going to run up. I'm going to just take a look at what this move would be. Normally when you break these things, you go for the highs, right? You do the full sweep. Do the same thing. We do it all the time to the downside. That's why I know we do it. I mean, it's 136% high if I had to guess. Yeah, it's a weekly high. You can maybe argue that this high here, you might get hung up here a little bit. It's a weekly high as well. But I mean, if I look at the past, I mean, did we really get hung up here too much? Not really. So maybe it does run. Let me look at the volume real quick. Um, volume doesn't look terrible on the weekly. It's kind of up and sideways. Doesn't really look great, but I mean, it looks like it's flagging out a little bit here, right? I'll go down to a lower time frame, see if I can see it better. It looks worse than I go to the lower time frames. It's just chop city. But on the daily, it didn't look too bad. Kind of looks like a little flag. So maybe when this flag breaks right here, you see a little break in that flag. Volume pops up. Maybe you'll see price slowly follow it, like shortly after. So something like that, I would be looking for cubic. And if it loses this support, I mean, your next level down is this little low right here. I'm not going to try to say the numbers. It's way too many zeros. So I'm just going to say if it goes down to 8.7 with 6 zeros, yeah, that's a lot. So it's your line in the sand, and if it breaks above this trend, I'd be watching. On the 4 hour, I think you got a 4 hour structure shift. Let me double check. Yeah, you do. You broke it right here. There's your 4 hour market structure shift. So you just got to get above this trend. You can watch this in the short term. Let me get rid of the indicators real quick, guys. Man, I've been talking for an hour and 15 minutes. Don't even feel like it. All right, so look, you got a trend right there. Look, if it breaks trend, it's probably coming down, in which case I'd be looking for a higher low or a sweep of this low. So you got two scenarios. If it's not ready to break now, and it's assuming it does break, maybe it'll come do something like that. And if it puts a higher low in, there's a pretty good chance on the next attempt on that trend, it's probably going to break it. It's just how these patterns play out when you have these trends. They'll either come back down, put a higher low in, and reattack that trend, and they usually get the breakthrough. And then maybe you'll get the back test and you'll run up or something. Or it's going to come back down and it's going to take the low. It's just not ready to go yet. If it, like I said, if it takes this wick and doesn't, if it starts to really like lose this level here, it's probably over for this thing. Especially if the rest of the market's moving up. But I don't want to write it off. I don't really know too much about this one. I know Donkey's he really likes this project, so he probably knows a lot more. But I mean, on the charts, look, man, that's your line. Got that trend, and you have key support right there. So that's what I'm seeing on that one. Let me go check chat. Anything else you guys want to look at? What's up, Cass? All right, so here's what we're gonna do here. 1 second, guys. Hide this for a second. Yeah, apparently the visual effects on my computer are not really working too well. So I'm gonna turn that off. I don't want my stream to crash. You guys saw enough of me anyway. You don't need to know what I look like anymore. I doxed myself on this stream. I'm gonna regret it forever. Ben's probably already got screenshots of me to like friggin' open mouth thumbnail me with AI or something. I'm kind of hoping you guys would never see my face, but I mean it's on the internet. If anybody follows me on X or Discord, I'm on there. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna go take a look at just a few different coins, and then I'm probably gonna go look for a trade on. You know what? Screw that. We're just gonna go look at BTC. I want to find a trade. I was like all about trying to find some setups, but I just gave like 30 setups. I think I'm gonna look for something. So BTC, it's been chopping. I usually don't trade like the first hour of Tokyo on a Sunday. There's just no reason to do it, in my opinion. It's just you don't know what's going to happen. You got to wait for the trend to get established. We just got a weekly candle close. VWAP's just reset from the daily close. So we got to assess what's happening. So look, all this bull crap, right? I'm going to go down to the 5 minutes so we can kind of really see what VWAP's doing. So look, we had initially started up here. We started around 2130. That's where Tokyo opened. They ran up. They slammed back down to VWAP. So they're deciding now which direction the trend is going to be. We need to see if they want to actually stay below VWAP or if this is just a deviation to grab some liquidity and they're going to close back above, in which case I think our target's going to be this 116 or 115.9. I think this is a very easy target if we do manage to hold above VWAP. They're kind of setting the pace right now, so we need to see what they're going to do. If I was looking for a trade, I guess I would be watching. Kind of looks like an upwards channel, doesn't it, guys? A little bit of an upwards channel. Yeah, it kind of, sort of. Could be like a little bit of a bear flag forming, possibly. If I just cut through the meat here. So we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen yet. We're just channeling up right now. We haven't really lost this support. If we were to lose this support or this trend, let's say we start closing under VWAP, we gap down pretty fast to this 113.9, right? I think this 113.9 will probably hold this support somewhere around there for a little bit. It was the previous high. We got to see what the bulls want to do, right? And if we start to lose that, let me see if there's any trend underneath that we can actually mark off. It's going to get like really crazy on my charts in a minute. Nah, I don't like that. I didn't like that trend to begin with. So where's our weekend liquidity? That's the real question. Let's go look at BTC CME. BTC on the CME chart. So, oh man, they're going to fill that. Oh, I hate to say it, but they're going to fill that. So you see this gap right here? This is where the weekend close happened on Friday. Now CME is a little off from your typical BTC chart. The one I'm looking at, the prices are a little different. There's a different spread on it. And 113 forward start. So I'm going to go back to Friday. Let's go back to our chart real quick. Let's draw out this CME gap real quick. So let's go to the half-hour chart. The market's closed on Friday down. Wow. This is going to be interesting. So the market's closed. Oof. Like right around here. So we start the box here. This is horrible. Oh man, they're really going to mess with us this week. I already know it's coming. So let's just say somewhere around here. And this is the gap. CME opened right here, actually. I take that back. So CME opened back here. So this is our CME gap right here. Oof. They're coming for that. So that's on the 30-minute. I'm going to get rid of it. So this is all, like, this is basically all this happened over the weekend. So from here to where we're at right now, up here, this all happened during the weekend. So that's our gap. I'll just draw that right there. There's a very good chance they're going to come fill that. And it just lines up perfectly. Like, think about it. So they come fill the CME gap. Kind of brings us back down to this trend hotspot, golden pocket, anchored VWAP zone where all the liquidity's sitting anyway. So what's to say if they don't go for this gap, they don't come back down here, grab that liquidity, then run it up. Like that's a very good possibility right there. I mean, they have the catalyst to do it this week. They got the FOMC. I mean, they got Trump giving some news event. Like there's a lot of reasons they could do this. Like they could literally they could run us up into FOMC, then pull it back, and then have the run if they want to mess around. They could pull us back into FOMC. There's a lot of ways this plays out. But I will tell you this. This is my plan. You guys do whatever you want to do. Like I said, not financial advice. If we pull back, if we fill this gap tomorrow and Tuesday going into FOMC and we're sitting down here going into Wednesday, oh, you best believe I'm going to be longing. Like without a shadow of a doubt, I'm going to be looking for longs. Not going to say where I'm looking to look at long. You guys, I'm not going to tell you because I don't want anybody just to jump in, but this is the area. And if that happens, normally if you pull back into a major event, it's often a sell the rumor buy the news, sell the rumor buy the news, or reverse. If you pump into a news event, it's a buy the rumor sell the news. Those play out all the time. That's why it's good to know these big events because you have to like be prepared that price may just be. It's how whales exit positions. This is how institutions exit. They need these major catalysts. They need people to pump the markets to sell into them, or they need price to come down so they can get their fill. Like they need retail and to fill their bids. That's how they get them. And these news events are the easiest way to do it. It's just the easiest way to move the market. The market makers have free reign over the market. I mean, whether you believe market makers exist, whether you believe that they like manipulate the market, that's your opinion or not. I mean, I'm gonna say trading the markets every day. They definitely do. We see it all the time. Just ask Ben; he'll tell you all about spoofing and all the crazy stuff they do on the order books. You can see how they move price. But yeah, this is what I'm watching, guys. I think this we have. I'm gonna get rid of the CME gap, by the way. I'm not gonna keep that on there. It's just way too much on my chart. But if we start to lose levels, or if we sweep this first, I'll be looking for shorts up here. And to the downside, I think I'll be looking like to the major downside. I'm looking for that CME gap to get filled, and I'm looking for price down at this 109 area. I think that would be a healthy correction or pullback going into after this major pump, and it would make me feel more comfortable. Like to be 100% honest with you, I feel more comfortable when they do pull back into these big events because at least I know that it's not them like tricking retail. They're probably getting retail to panic out of their positions and they're scooping it up from them. So how they get the price down there, I don't know. Maybe people just start de-risking because they're worried that Trump's gonna say something or Jerome Powell's not gonna like he's gonna announce less rate cuts and come out hawkish. People just get scared at these events and they do weird stuff and it's free reign for them to do whatever they want. So I think for tonight I'm going to be watching this trade here. I'm looking for. I think in the short term, look, if we start to lose this support and we can't reclaim VWAP, let me get VWAP back up here. I will be looking for this gap to get filled right here on the right. That takes us back down to maybe 114, down to maybe 113.6, 113.7. I think that would be a decent move to the downside. So that would be my short that I'd be watching for. BTC, that's maybe about 1% move. I mean, that's a great day. To the upside, I don't want to long up here. Look, we've been running up all weekend. The market structure, like, not the market structure, but like the way that price is moving, this doesn't look like something I want to long. I don't like when price chops sideways like that. I would rather look for longs down here in this area. Maybe a short-term bounce down here at 113.6, maybe like a mean reversion play back in the VWAP, or I'd be looking for a sweep up here and I'd be looking for the short for the SFP. So those are the three plays I'm looking for. We might be getting a little bit of a head and shoulders here. So you kind of see it right on the 5-minute. So show you real quick. Let's see a little shoulder, head, shoulder, typical reversal pattern. We're kind of in like a weird looking bear flag thing. I don't know, or an upward rising channel. Those usually aren't bullish. If we lost this, it would take us down to sweep all this liquidity, putting us right into the bottom side of this thicker liquidity, kind of almost into that low volume gap. So this could be the play. Kind of bear flagging out a little bit underneath the trend. It's not the cleanest trend, but I mean, look, essentially we're under VWAP, and that's all that really matters here, right? I get rid of everything else. We're underneath VWAP. As long as we under VWAP, then we're probably gonna favor downside with the way Asia likes to trade. We have a little bit of a money line forming, right? It's not fully developed yet, but we can start watching it, start kind of tracking this thing on the lower time frames to kind of give ourselves a little bit of something to work off of. I'm gonna say if it starts, look, it's not fully developed yet. We have something there, right? So if it breaks maybe back above, let me get rid of this. It's actually blocking my view. So if we can't reclaim VWAP and we start to lose this low here, I'd imagine we're probably going to come grab this liquidity. They're probably going to just sweep all of this. Just like liquidity was building to the upside, I was showing you on the higher time frames. Like this is all weak, easy stuff to grab. And they're not too far from it. And there's low volume there, so they can easily push the price down. Low key, I turned my camera off so if I need to take a trade, you guys don't see me like diverting my eyes to my phone or anything to take the trade. So I like do my TA here, but I like to execute on my phone when I'm taking a trade. I'm not gonna ever tell you on stream, by the way, when I take a trade. It's not what I do, but yeah, it's a lot easier to do it on your phone because you can kind of input things really quickly versus like me switching windows, especially like when I'm TAing on my like computer and I got the stream up, I got a bunch of things happening. So yeah, it's kind of what I might be doing in the background, but I won't tell you. You'll have to figure it out. So while we're waiting for this to play out, do you guys have anything you want to look at? Anybody in the chat? I want to take that as a no. All right, well, I'm going to watch BTC for a little bit then. If there's something you want to see, just type it in the chat. Just don't give me like some freaking don't give me like some meme coin that just launched yesterday on Pumped Up Fun, all right? That shit, like I can't really TA shit like that. You want ADA Kush? I give you ADA, man. I haven't looked at an ADA chart since I made jokes about it and it ran up to $1, and then I felt like an idiot. What time frame you want it on? You want a short-term play? You want a long-term play? What you looking at? Look, I already got I got TA on ADA, man. You can tell. What do you want, Kush? You want short term? You want the long term? I'm gonna start with the high time frames, unless you tell me otherwise. All right, so I don't know when I drew this, but it just makes sense, I guess. Right? You can argue that 8 is kind of like holding this this trend line right here. Look, it's kind of like in a giant wedge. Where would that wedge take us? Let's just play games here. So for all you ADA people that thought this thing was gonna go back up to like 15, go up to like $15, you might be sorely mistaken. So if this wedge breaks out, it's going to take us back to, it could take us to $2. It would make sense because look where the volume's at. All the volume's been trading down here. Volume fades once we get back above this high here. So like actually right above this high, it starts to really fade. So if it breaks out, anywhere it breaks out, it's probably going to pop pretty hard. Just we don't know how high it's going to go. I mean, does it get back to its all-time high? I don't think so. That's just my opinion, though. I don't think the technology's that good. Not a lot of people like Charles. I don't want to talk shit about him on the internet. Doesn't bode well for people apparently. But look, Daily's got a structure shift. Barely a structure shift though. It looks a little weaker than everything else. I would say it's probably on the weaker side of a lot of the coins we looked at. So it doesn't even have a closure up there yet. So it's still to be determined. But if it does break this level, right? If it does break this level, you're just looking for either a back test here and then a bounce, or you're looking for a back test down here somewhere, like a higher low somewhere. You can get down to the nitty gritty when it does happen. I'm just kind of speculating on the eye, just like, kind of thinking what I would want to see for me to want to long it. You're going to get hung up here. Just be prepared for this. So 73.62, there's going to be resistance there. You can see it on the volume. You can see that we've hit this level a bunch. You can just look across the chart and kind of just tell. ADA's like, for some reason, it respects this damn level. Like, you see every time it gets here, it becomes like a resistance or support. And it's a 73.6. Above that, you're probably going back up to 90 cents. That would be my guess on that. That's daily. I mean, same situation on the 4-hour. You're looking for this high to break to get that 4-hour shifter structure. You might have actually had it before. Maybe here. Maybe you can argue there, but I wouldn't even call it. I would say this is the 4-hour shift. So this is the level to break right now. It's this 68, 67, and then the next level to the upside is going to be this 63. And I think to the downside, you have to keep an eye on 65. If it breaks back below 65, I mean, you're probably coming back down for the lows of 60. That's my guess on that. But you want long term? Yeah. All right, good. So I nailed it then. Any good crypto mining companies you watch? I heard those are going to go up a lot because AI is booming and they're starting to use their mining data. See a couple that are top mining companies. Riot, Mara. I actually TA'd Mara. I threw Mara into our Discord like a week ago. But we can go look at it. I probably have TA on it. Yeah, I do. Oh yeah, Mara I do have TA on. Okay, Mara looks good. So here's what's happening with Mara. I'm gonna get rid of this real fast. So Mara's just flagging out, man. It's just in a channel. Look, you're in a channel. This thing breaks. Kinda gives me cup and handy vibes, like cup and handle vibes. If you're looking at this right here, like this is like super, super speculation here. Don't look, all right? Kind of like a cup. It's like really. I know I'm stretching a little bit, like literally actually stretching it, but we're hitting resistance here at this 32, and now we're chopping sideways to the downside. We're just ranging. Maybe this thing's gonna break. Now, where's the cup and handle take us? That's the real question. If it is a cup and handle, I mean, it would take us almost back to the highs. Pretty damn close. So, I don't really. See, the problem with this thing is I don't really see a trade on it. Like, if you're not in this right now, like, I don't know what to tell you. You have earnings coming up on this thing on the 4th of November. This is really difficult to try to get into a coin like that. Oh, it's not even a coin, it's a stock. It's difficult to get into something like this because it's just been up only. I would say if you were going to try to find a trade on this, you'd have to go down to the lower time frames, treat it as like a low time frame, middle time frame swing trade, and then maybe get in it. So like I would have to go down to like my daily or my 4-hour and then look for a swing trade on this to try to get in for a bigger move if it does decide it's going to break out. Like if it does decide it's going to make a crack above 31 and then start to run up, that's probably where I would look for it. I would probably go down to like my 4-hour or my daily. So we have a daily trend right here. Doesn't look too bad, right? Let me see it on the 4-hour real quick. All right, so 4 hours got like head and shoulder vibes, right? A little head, shoulder, head, maybe the right shoulder right here. Maybe that takes us back down. I mean, let me see what the measured move is. If this is even actually a head and shoulders. Probably takes us back down. Sweeps all this liquidity here, right? So let me adjust this trend real quick. Yeah, it would probably take us back down, sweep some liquidity. Then maybe it runs up. So if you see a pullback, and look at this trend speculative, we don't know if it's going to hold or not. It's just me throwing something in there, just try to make pieces, put the pieces of the puzzle together. So I'd probably expect this trend or that measured move to slow right around 15.6. If for some reason this thing decided it was going to pull back that deep, and I don't know if it will, just looking at the 4 hour, it doesn't look terrible. I mean, the daily looks good. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really look too weak. There's a chance we get a pullback. If that happened, that'd probably be an area to maybe look to get in. I would say around 15. What was that? 15.7, and then I would say probably the other area I would watch if you're trying to look for this. I don't know how this moves. I've never traded it, so I don't know what the volatility's like on it. Let me see what the daily candle even looks like on this thing. So a typical move, bounce off this trend. I mean, that's pretty good. 28%. How long did that take? Oh man, like a week. Oh, this thing moves like crypto. Okay. Moves just like crypto. So yeah, a move like this is possible then, for sure. They could easily bring it back down to 15, 16 bucks. So this is where I'd be looking. I think this would be my zone here. Let me see what a fib looks like down here. If I pull a fib from this low, this high, it's trying to front run the 618. So I would almost guess. I would almost no. I would say they're probably gonna come at least take that 618. Wow, I didn't mean to do that. So yeah, I'd be looking for the 618 to probably get swept, and then maybe really be looking down at that 786. I think that's probably your better target. I think if you're buying here, you're kind of buying in a scary spot. Maybe it gets a bounce, but I think this is probably the juicier area in my opinion. You go down to the 786, you go down to that low, you look for a bounce down there somewhere at this trend line, this area here. I think you could probably look, you got volume picks up right here. I would imagine if I pull the volume profile, there's probably going to be something there. Let me just do it real quick. This is going to be crazy because there's a lot of data. That's a little lower. We're at POC now, so that would take us down to 13. I don't know. Maybe it does go that low. Let me see if there's a more local volume profile. Okay, that's POC. From this low up to this high. So this rally that's been in, the POC sits around 115.7. I would imagine that this is an area that you need to watch. Probably put this on your watch list if you're looking to trade or invest or get into this coin. That might be a good area. Let's see what else you got, Rob. You got anything else? You said riot or wheat. Let me go see what the volume looks like. Sometimes I don't even look at volume. Sometimes the charts tell you everything you need to know. You should look at volume though, but so daily volume doesn't look terrible. Weekly volume doesn't look terrible either. I mean, you're kind of breaking this high right here, right? So it's starting to make breaks on the weekly. Let's see what the 4 hour looks like. 4 hours kind of just, you're not gonna get crazy spikes. Sorry, my dog's over there like freaking trying to scratch her back on something, and she looks like a turtle, so I had to like pause and look at her. Like, you ever see a turtle and they like get stuck on their back? They just kind of wobble around. That's what my dog is doing right now. She's ridiculous. So yeah, I'm gonna go look at Roy real quick. I think I don't. Is it Riot, dude? I don't have a Roy. What do you What's the ticker for that second one you were talking about? Riot. Okay. Yeah, I'll check Riot. I think I might have TA'd this one. Not 100% sure. Riot platforms. We'll know in a second. No, I don't think I TA'd this one. Oof. What is this, dude? What do you got me looking at? What the hell is this, Rob? Jesus, I can't even see the freaking top. Dude, what are you looking? What is this? It was at $3,600. It's now at 21. This looks like a. This looks worse than a meme coin. I mean, the volume's picking up, I guess, right? Oh my god, dude, this is horrible. I God, that is so bad. I would hate to be an investor in that. Could you imagine putting $3,600 into something, buying the top, and they're like, "I'm gonna hold," and now it's only worth $20. Like that's gotta suck. I've been that guy before. I've bought tops. I've earned my right to talk shit. But all right, look, I was just gonna give you the. It doesn't look terrible if you're looking down here. When you go look in the past, it's just like hopeless. I just don't see. What's the market cap on this? Like for reals. Like this thing is beat. So you broke that high there. You're out of this little accumulation range, right? So you have to imagine if it holds this high, the next level is going to be this 48. So you're looking up here for your next level. Volume fades out. We broke that volume. It's starting to get that back test. I'm going to go to the daily, right? So you're getting the back test here. This is kind of what you want to see when you break resistance. You want to see, all right? It's kind of like, I won't even use this. Let's just use this whole box, right? So this was the high. See, it's breach, breach. So it's just chopping around right on top. So this is a typical SR flip, which is a support resistance flip. This is like got the pattern of that. So you got a little bit of a flag forming there. How you play this, if you actually want to trade this thing, you're looking for the break. You play this just like anything. You're looking for some type of boom, crack, back test, and then run on a lower time frame. Your target would be, I mean, I imagine, let me get rid of that. I hate when I do that. So look, they haven't taken this. They've double tapped this liquidity up here, right? If they break this high, I mean, if you break this trend, you're probably taking this high around 23 easy. And I would imagine it's going to make its run up probably somewhere up here. The volume fades out, so I mean, this wouldn't be too crazy of an ask. Let me see what the move would be. I mean, it's a 100% move. I mean, you're kind of playing in the trenches on this one. But hey, I guess you really can't go that much lower, right? It's like what's $20 if it was sitting at 3,600 like how many years ago? I mean 22 years ago. Yeah, that makes sense. This thing's had a rough ride. But the volume's there, dude. The volume is there. That's crazy to see. I mean, it's on all time frames too. Someone's buying this thing up. So yeah, I would stop. I guess I would say like from what just this recent price action from maybe this cycle, this is probably ready to make another move. I don't think it ever gets back to its old valuation though, so don't buy that thing with hopes. You want deep cush? I got you, bro. What blockchain is deep on? So is that base? Which exchange would it be on? It's not on Binance. Is it on Binance? Let me just check it on Binance real quick. Oh yeah, it doesn't have much. It doesn't have much data on Binance. Let me see if it has anything better. See what Bybit has way more data. All right, so we're gonna use Bybit. All right, so just look at. Let me get rid of the volume real fast. So look, you're in a trend. You're underneath of a trend. You've been kind of going back down towards these lows. Never took its low back from April. This one's a little tough, man. I'm not saying it's like tough to TA. It's more tough to like to want to long this thing. Like I just don't really see the bull case in it. I guess I wouldn't take any trades underneath this resistance. Like if it breaks that trend, then maybe. But this is also the higher time frame. So like for spot, I mean, if you can't really rely on this breaking here, because let's say you break this high right here, right? You're coming back into resistance at 10 cents. Then you have to break 10 cents. If you can break 10 cents, maybe this is a scenario where I could see myself go long. Or you get back on the 10 cents, you back test, then you run up. I would entertain possibly taking a long if you can reclaim the 10 cents. That's probably an area I would watch for. I mean, you see it held here, held here. It was resistance here, resistance here, resistance there. Like if I could just go through all of it, like this is obviously a clear area of like interest. Look, when it broke back here, I'm gonna extend this line back. This is exactly what you're looking for. This is what you're looking for. So you're looking for, move this up a little bit. So you're looking for a breakout and then some type of confirmation. You could probably see it on the 4 hour if I go back in time. Sometimes you don't see them on the daily, but you'll see them on the 4 hour. So look, you had a break, kind of pulled back a little bit, and then it ran. Was there volume behind this? Yeah, volume is supporting it. Volume is running up. So you're looking for that breakout with volume. And the way you can tell that these breaks, believe it or not, like this break here, when we were trying to hold support, volume started fading. That was your cue to get out. That was your cue to get out. And then it ran down a little bit, chopped around, then finally broke back up. And this time when it backtest, the volume was running. And you could see that the backtest wasn't long lived. They just sent this thing up. And then you got another chance right here, right? I mean, it respects trends from what I can see. So it's probably what I'd be looking for, something like that. Look for 10 cents to break. Wait for the back test here. If you get that back test, you can probably ride it up through this low volume gap. You can see how there's a single print right here. That's a low volume zone. Price moves fast there. So you'll probably get a nice little move back up to through that area into that trend. And then if you break that trend, I mean, then it's really on, right? You go back to the higher time frames. I mean, you start breaking this trend, you have to imagine this thing might just pop. And it's probably going to sweep all this liquidity right here. Look at all this built up liquidity on the higher time frame. All that is easy pickings. If it can crack trend, it'll probably go up and eventually grab that. And then you just got to assess it level by level. But yeah, I mean, deep doesn't look too bad if it can get back above that level. I'm going to go back to Bitcoin for now and see what's happening. I'm trying to catch a trade tonight. So we're still messing around at VWAP. Yeah, Sundays are tricky, man. I wouldn't even be surprised if we have a flat week this week because of FOMC. Like usually price action kind of sucks going into these things. I hate to say it, but like that's kind of what my gut's telling me now. And I think Wednesday through Friday is going to be like a roller coaster. It's probably going to be awesome. What's up, Rich? I look at virtual too. Deep Sun Sui. I thought, you know what? That makes sense. So what you're looking for on deep, you're looking for Sui to run. It looks a lot like Sui too now that I think about it. So virtual, I can look at virtual. BTC ain't doing shit. Oh, let me show you Aster. I'll show you Aster afterwards. So let's just do virtual first. Oof, virtual looks good. All right, this is something I can TA. All right, so here's what I'm seeing on virtual. Pretty simple here. You got a trend break. You had a little bit of a falling wedge, whatever you want to call it. It swept all the liquidity down, and now you're starting to break up. Bullish divergence on the daily. Your weekly's completely reset. So I think what you're looking for here is obviously you don't want to take a trade right where it's at. You're waiting for a daily retrace, daily structure shift. I think you might have had one right here. So you had a low, high, higher low. The daily structure shift was right there, but you have not gotten a back test yet. So normally when you get the structure shifts, market structure shifts, after you get that shift, you're looking for the first higher low. Now it doesn't always come back all the way to the area. Sometimes it even deviates below where the structure shift was at. But you're just looking for generally a higher low to get formed, and then that's usually like kind of where you would enter if you were playing market structure on a daily. Now that's like a spot trade. You would have to go to a lot lower time frame to really try to snipe it if you're gonna play leverage, and I'd be very careful on leverage with this thing because this thing is ridiculously freaking volatile. Like it does not play games. I mean, some of these moves. I mean, that last pump was like 500% on this thing, and that was back in May. So this thing could move. I think when it ran so hard. This is not even like the full chart, by the way. This is just the perps. You have to go down to like I'm pretty sure for virtual you have to go to like to get some of the oldest data. Maybe MEXC might have it. Let me see if MEXC has it. Now MEXC is not going to be great for volume because it's a small exchange, so you don't want to rely on volume. But it typically has charts a lot earlier than most places do. Let's look at that. See, it'll like list coins way in advance of Binance. Usually when things get listed on Binance, by that time, that's usually when people are selling because they're like the early like VCs, people who bought the coin before it got on there were still on dexes. Some small exchanges like MEXC, which is kind of like they always have like new projects constantly rotating in. If you get a coin early like that, once it gets listed on Binance, you usually get these crazy pumps because it accesses a whole different market. Like a bunch of liquidity now gets like the coin gets access to tons of liquidity when it goes on Binance. And that's usually when they sell. So I would imagine the Binance listing noticed that like there was not much data on the Binance chart previous to here, right? And then when it got listed on Binance, that's when it ran up to $5. So it's like all before here, this is all dexes and like small little exchanges, and then it gets listed on Binance and it runs to its all-time high, like runs to $5 and then crashes like crazy. So that was just like this was the pump that they exited on. So yeah, I'd be looking for back test, some type of higher low. I'm sure it's not going to be like an overnight thing. Might take some time, but yeah, I mean, usually like the pullbacks are about 3 4 days maybe. Maybe you'll get like a week of red or like one red day where it really comes down, and then maybe it'll form a higher low, and then you can look for an entry. I'll show you something that's even better than that. Missed out on this one though. Everybody, dude, it crashed again. What? I. Oh yeah, that's great. So this is Chain Opera, right? So this is the BNB virtuals. Oh my god, I can't believe they crashed it down. So this is basically their version of virtual protocol. So this thing ran 5,000% from its inception to about $20, right? It's ridiculous how much it ran. The other day, like a week ago, I called the bottom on this thing. Right here, I said going long. I sold way too early, by the way. Way too early. I got shooken out on this one, and it ran back up to its all-time high. And that was literally my target. I was gonna run this thing back to the all-time high, and that's what it did. And then they sold it off again. I wouldn't be surprised if it runs back up again. Would not be surprised. I mean, look at the 4 hour. 4 hours completely oversold. It's starting to like probably gonna have some divergence here. Let me see if there's any. Oh, the daily looks like shit. This actually might be over for a little bit for this coin. Gotta be careful with this one. It's not really like it just runs too hard. I mean, the 4 hours got bullish divergence on this thing, right? Although this is the 1 hour, not even the 4 hour. So you got a little bit of bull divs here coming into this low. There's probably gonna be a pop on this thing pretty soon. It ran down pretty hard. Actually, when I bought it last time, it was about this price too. It was a little cheaper than this. So this is like kind of like the virtuals, but you see virtuals is pumping now, and this thing is not. So like, when did this thing start dumping? On Friday. What did virtuals do? Virtual started pumping Friday. So money's moving out of COAI and going back into virtual. So whoever's playing these coins, who's putting money into these coins, they're basically going back and forth. They're just sloshing the money around. You see volume on virtuals is like ridiculously up. So when virtuals is going up, it's probably taking the market share away from COAI. There might have been FUD on it too. Who knows? That's crazy. I'm gonna have to watch this one. I'm putting this back on my watch list. I actually might take a trade on it. I'm not gonna tell you guys though which one I'm talking about. Might look for a trade on this thing in the next few days. I'm gonna see what's up with it. Let me see. What was I gonna go look at? Okay, so that was COAI. Let me look at Aster real quick. Aster, I was talking about the other day. I said this thing is gonna run. I was talking about a 105, and it ran up to about 122 this weekend. So it's about 15% move from when I called it the other day. By the way, I called it like right here when it broke this trend and it was back testing. That's when I was like, I think this thing's ready to go. Like right around here. Actually, it was a little lower than that. It was like in this little area. But it did the same thing COAI did. It just hit the 786 fib and then it bounced. So I kind of figured this would kind of do the same thing, and it's so far so good. So I think Astra has one more push back up. It didn't really have like that full double top. It had this here, but it didn't like have its second move back up. And it's putting a higher low in. If you're looking at it on the daily, I mean, like, the volume looks like shit. But I'm looking for some type of higher low to get put in. And if it does manage to put a higher low in, I'm looking for an entry. I haven't really figured out where yet. I think I want to wait till FOMC before I do anything. But there's a potential, right? This is what I'm seeing here. There's a potential for shoulder, head. Maybe we come back down like this, put a right shoulder in, and then bam, we run up. So that's kind of what I'm looking for on Aster. That's what I would like to see. It just makes the most sense to me. Like it, the way the market structure is right now, the way it's just kind of a chopping up like this. Like, sure, could it run from here? Absolutely, but it's not really like this is a lot of resistance. It's gonna have to get past. So I don't think it gets it on its first attempt. I think oftentimes it'll bang its head against it a few times, and then if it can't get through, it'll pull back to grab liquidity, gain some momentum, and then run up. Like, kind of get a little bit of a runway before they try to break through the wall. So I think this is the play I'll be looking for. If I see something like this happen, and I can get fine tune it, I can always figure out where that higher low is going to be. Like if I pull my fib, just so happens my golden pocket, right? My 618786 zone happens to be right where that shoulder would probably form. Also this low right here, right? They may want to come back down here and sweep all this liquidity. Very good chance they will too. Especially if you see a BNB pullback, right? This is all weekend liquidity. So we lost trend. We're back testing right now. You expect them to come take all this back. And that would line up with the right shoulder. I think that's the play I'll be looking for. I'm going to load all this stuff up in the Discord, by the way. We're getting held up by a anchored VWAP from the low. That's pretty interesting. Yeah, I'll load up these charts throughout the week. There's no rush to get any of these things. Most of these things are on the daily. They're going to take days, maybe a week or two to play out. So there's like real no rush, really no rush. Like I said, until we see ETH start to run, a lot of these things are just they're gonna just chop around. And then you'll be sitting in a spot position for who knows. I mean, if you're doing spot, do your thing. If you're a leverage trader like I am, you have to be more patient. You need to wait for these pullbacks, these big capitulation events to really get those money entries, in my opinion. Anybody know if there's any? What are you trying to say? Kush COAI on my list now. Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying, dude. It's like, yo, it's crazy. Triple bottom on the 4 hour. Yeah, dude. Yeah, bro. I'm telling you, man. I'm thinking about. I'm watching this thing. I'm actually thinking about taking a trade on this. I think if it can give me something that I need. Um, so we got a 15-minute market structure shift already, right? Right here, and that's actually how I got in last time. Believe it or not, it was a 15-minute market structure shift. So when it broke right here, this high, that was the first back test that it gave us, and I took that back test. That was the 15-minute market structure shift, right where my cursor's at. So we had the 15-minute market structure, 15-minute market structure shift right here. I'm not gonna say that word anymore. So I guess I need to see a higher low. I don't really trust where it's at right now. It looks like it wants to come down a little bit more. Maybe it runs up a little bit more before it comes down. I don't know just yet. But like if I see something like this, oh, that would be fucking beautiful. That would be so nice. Let me see what the downside would be on this thing if you got in. Let's just say you didn't wait for a back test. You're looking at 5-6% just back down to there, and if it goes back down to the lows, that's at 15%. You'd probably get liquidated on most leverage, unless you were like on a 5x or like under maybe 3 or 5x. But I wouldn't even trade this thing on leverage if you don't have to. And if you are on leverage, this is my advice. I'm not telling you to take any trades or do anything, but if you are going to trade leverage with this thing, just do low leverage. Do like 3x. Give yourself a cushion and only use what you're willing to lose. Because this thing can move so hard, so fast, you don't need to put a lot of capital into this thing to make a shit ton of money. This thing can move, and within a week, it can move 200%. So, like, but it also can just run to zero, like that fast. So it's like, put what you're willing to lose, set the stop loss, wherever, like, if you set a stop loss somewhere, and that's it. Don't put a lot of money into it because if it blows through your stop loss, which it could, because it's a very volatile coin, you could give back a lot more than you want to, and that's not something. It's not a fun experience. It's happened to a few people in our group in that recent capitulation event. Luckily, we have really good partners with BidFi, and they were able to get a lot of people refunded when their stop losses got blown through. But if we didn't have that connection and we didn't have Donkey talking to the rep and having that good relationship between us, our group, like, and them, chances are we wouldn't have got anything back. So, or we wouldn't even tried. A lot of people lost money on that. And a coin like this, there's sometimes when it runs these big candles like that, there's no liquidity to grab. Like nothing, there's nothing there to fill your orders, and then you're just screwed at that point because the exchange can't fill it. It's not a technical glitch or anything like that. Like when we had that big capitulation a few weeks back, this is this is just you getting screwed. So that's what I'm saying. You only put what you're willing to lose if you're going to play the leverage game. You say you want Zcash? I can do Zcash. I don't even know what Zcash is. Is that the ticker, Zcash? Or is it Z something? What is Zcash? Yeah, it's ZC. That's what I thought. Something. All right. Zcash. Huh. What is Zcash? I have no clue what this is. I've heard of it. I just don't know what it does. I mean, looks like a short soon, guys. Oh, no, never mind. Short's gone. Wait, that's not the wick. I need the wick high. So this is Binance Spot, right? It's around 371. I gotta go check perps. Does it have a perp? Z. There it is. I mean, perps aren't up there yet either. So I think it's probably not going to break the all-time high on its first attempt. This is from the last bull market. What I would say on this one is the first attempt, it's probably going to get rejected. Most coins, I mean, look, Bitcoin did it, Ethereum did it, Solana did it. If those coins aren't breaking through on their first attempt at all-time highs from previous cycles, I doubt this coin's going to do it, especially after this many weeks of green. I know there's a lot of hype in it, but it's just from what I've seen in the market, that's usually how it plays out. Now it's a probability game. There's a chance it just blows right through, but more often than not, you're gonna get a little bit of a rejection. So what I would look for on this one, I would look for a break up and then a close back below. If in one day, so if you get a daily wick up, let's say for a few hours, you could sit up here for a couple hours above it. But if it doesn't close on like a daily above that and you see like a wick, it's probably a short. May not be a long lived short, but it'll be probably a short there. So you'd be looking, I think it will play out one of two ways, right? Here, I'll show you a coin that did something very similar to that. And we can use that as a reference point to how to play this. So let's go over to silver. So what did silver do? So I go back to my weekly on silver. When it first tapped this high, no, 49.82. That was a high from 2011. That was a long time ago, but it's still a high. On the first sweep, it ran up, ran just above it, and it closed back below. It actually was on a lower time frame. You can actually go to like a 15 and see this one. So it ran up. Didn't even really do much, and then it just got rejected instantly and came down. Now, crypto runs a little different because it's a lot smaller market cap. Crypto does, they like to really push the extents of SFPs. If you're a swing failure pattern trader and you like to look for those big pushes up through liquidity and then rejections, like the sweep of liquidity, crypto's so good for that because it's just so low market cap. They can move a lot of these things very easily. The volatility is just there for it. So you'll often get a bigger wick up on crypto, especially altcoins and stuff like that, than you would get on something like a commodity like gold or silver, or something with like crazy like high market cap. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, I'd be looking for the SFP here. I think that's probably the easiest play. You can't long this thing. It's just dumb to long it. And there's probably bearish divergence going into this thing. I would almost guarantee there's some divergence somewhere. You don't usually go into a major high like that without seeing something. You can see a little right here. It's starting to like chop around. They're gonna go sweep. They're gonna sweep this thing. I'm looking at the lower time frames. It looks like they're gearing up for a push up. You're either getting one of these. This is like a 5-minute chart, by the way. So like you're right under resistance, right? So you're like hours, maybe a day away from breaking out or breaking down. And if it does break out, like I said, I think it's going to be something like this. It'll break out. It'll probably, and then roll down. And then it'll probably do a pullback of some sort. Don't necessarily know where it'll go, but it'll do some type of pullback. So it'll probably be like a quick little scalp short. I'm gonna set an alert on this thing for if this does break out and I'm in front of the charts, I can at least catch a trade on it. Might be a nice little scalp short. Pullback wise, man, I don't even know if I'd want to touch this coin. And you're at all-time highs. I don't even know how you look for a long on this. I guess if you had to really pick a good level, you're looking for this level here, this wick, or the body of the candle there, or this wick. It's the only thing I really see that like it makes any sense to me. So you're looking for like 300 to 310, maybe 311 would maybe be a decent area to get in on. If I ran a trend, maybe there's a trend line that runs up. Let's say, do we have any? Yeah, we got a little bit of a trend right there, right? It's okay. We're building some confluence here. So this is an area. This is an area to watch. Could it come lower than that? Maybe. So let's see. Where's the wick at? Wick's right about here. We got a golden pocket here down at 281. I'll mark this off too. Look, you never know where price is going to bounce. All you can do is find areas of confluence and support and resistance levels or whatever you need to find, whatever direction you're trading something in. And at the end of the day, you wait till price gets there, set your alerts, wait for price to get there, and then you take the trade. You react, later. You don't like you don't have to like set limits down here. That's a dumb idea in my opinion because you never know if they're going to hold. You wait till it gets there, look for divergences, look for volume, look for market structure. There's a lot of things you can look for. Maybe an SFP depending on how it attacks. Um, yeah, it's just my take on it. Sorry, I was looking at something. Oh, that makes sense. Damn, one of the coins I'm in is doing really well right now. I'll show you in a second. But yeah, I'd be looking for that. I think this is going to break out pretty soon though. I think it's going to go for that high. Might be getting alerts in a couple couple minutes. Hopefully you guys don't hear it. I'll turn my volume down on my computer actually, so you don't hear it. I'll see the alert at least. But I'm gonna keep this one on my radar. Yeah, I'd watch that level, man. Watch that level down here. If we do get a pullback, I think it's gonna be a good area to probably look to load up. If you're, I don't even know if you want to long this thing. Why would you want to long into all-time highs? It just don't make sense to me. I think you kind of missed the boat on this one, unless you get a deep pullback. Maybe there's like a swing trade in here, but I don't know if I'd load up on spot. I think there's better trades out there. It's a privacy coin that makes sense. Yeah, but why is it moving though? There's got to be like a catalyst. Something happened, right? There's definitely a catalyst. I'm gonna actually go. I'm gonna look on Twitter while go back to BTC real quick. Just watch price action. Like I said, I'm still looking for a trade tonight. I'm not ready to call it just yet. But we're still chopping that view up. I hate this shit. I want to see what happened with COAI. See if there was any like FUD behind it. There's no FUD on it. Like something that like like they rugged or I might actually try to look for a long on that thing. Do they not have an X? Chain Opera AI. Let's see if this is it. I got it. It's under Chain Opera AI. Nothing on their X. I think money's just moving back into virtuals. I think they're getting smacked because of it. But I mean, like that. This is a nice little. Yeah, this is a good one. Like, it's still a higher low too. That's the crazy part. What's the market cap on this thing? Let me check that too. That'll really tell whether this is gonna like run hard or not. Oof, it's pretty high up there. So market cap wise, it's just above a billion. When it was at its high up here, around 20 bucks, it was at about $4 billion. And that's not even fully diluted. It's only got a zero point 0.2 FDV. So that means only 20% of the coins are in circulation right now. So that means there's gonna be unlocks. Maybe there was an unlock. Let me see when the unlocks happen. I don't think they tell you. You'd have to go to the website. Anyway, let me get off this one. Let's just watch BTC for now. Uh-oh. Are we rejecting? Do I see a rejection on VWAP? Oh, hoo, hoo. Yes, I do. Oh, that looks good. That's starting to look like a little head and shoulders right there. Alright, so I'm waiting for this neckline to break then. Got a little neckline right there. It loses this low. It's coming down. Yeah, I don't see anything on unlocks. Not sure. So, yeah, that's that on that one. I'm going to move some of these tokens back over. Oh, guys, don't forget to like, by the way. I should have probably said that like a million years ago. I know I'm the same way. Like when I'm watching someone's YouTube video, I always forget to like their video until they tell me. They're like, make sure you like and subscribe. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I should do that, right? It's like, I don't know. I'm guilty of it too. I don't really like pay attention too much. Zcash is moving. Zcash just took the high. Uh-oh. What's gonna happen? Was that an SFP? I don't think it's done yet. I wouldn't. It's a reaction though, right? So we are getting some type of reaction here. Let's go look at market cipher. It's not done yet. I wouldn't fade it just yet. Let me get rid of this. No divergence. Yeah, I wouldn't fade it just yet. I think it needs to really like take liquidity if it's gonna run down. Now look, if it starts closing back inside this little ascending triangle, starts, getting acceptance back in here, that could be a short too. A lot of times when you get accepted back into patterns, oftentimes they'll run it back down. Could just be like a fake out breakout and then a run down, but my guess is they're gonna try to actually grab some liquidity because I think you need to trap some traders here. If you know anything about liquidity, you need people to buy the high for them to sell into it. Someone's got to sell. Someone's got to be on the receiving end of it, unfortunately. So we need to trap some traders, and they're probably going to do it soon. It'll probably be a pretty convincing breakout at first. But the question is volume supporting it? That'll be the real question. So far, it's not. And why I say that, what do you notice about volume here? This high, this is a lower high than this high right here, but the volume is actually significantly lower. Hasn't broken this high, so volume is actually in a downtrend. So the volume is not supporting this move, not at least on the 15. I mean, if I go down to a 5, it's probably the same way. Look, volume is actually fading into this pump. So this is probably a trap. Yeah, I got you. I'm gonna go back and check right now on that BTC. So I just drew it right here. So like it could potentially be a head and shoulders. We don't know. But if it were a head and shoulders, like right here, boom, boom, and maybe this is the right shoulder. This is your neckline. You start from the shoulder and just run it straight through. It could also just be a bear flag. You know, you can call it anything you want to call it, but like end of the day, like it's just, it's kind of just doing that. So you have to wait. If this starts to break down, it's just, you're just looking for this trend line to break, really. That'll be the significance. I mean, right now, the first red flag is up. We're underneath VWAP. We're failing to get back above it, right? Since we lost it, we tried, boom, failed. Trying again, now we're failing. If we lose this low, that is a 5-minute structure shift. That'll be a 5-minute market structure shift because this is a high. This would be a lower high, and this would be the low that it breaks. And that's usually where I would look to take my trade. I would usually look for a break of the structure. Sometimes I'll enter on the break of the structure on the 5-minute because I can get a tight stop loss in right there. But I'm also prepared if that happens that we're going to get a back test and it's going to run back to it could run to my entry, it could run slightly into the red. And then usually you'll get the continuation down if the move's going to be legit. Sometimes it'll even run all the way back into VWAP, especially because there's a VWAP there. Maybe it'll run into VWAP and then run down. So it's a risk you take if you do enter on the break of the 5-minute structure shift with the trend. I sometimes take that chance depending on if I see what I like what I see. I think in this case, I'm not sure if I'd do that. I'm gonna see if I have any other confluences. So I guess if I was looking at, yeah, I mean, I had it hugged up against that earlier, just like that. Yeah, I mean, I guess it'd be a break of that trend too. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. I don't really see volume volume's flat, like straight flat. Volume isn't doing anything. Like you can see it's down on the 15. Let me see what the hourly looks like. The hourly looks okay. I just find it hard to believe that we came this far and we're not going for 115 to about 9. As much as I would love to catch a short here, I just feel like I'd have to see the market structure shift, man. And like get the back test. I need confirmation to just take a short here because I feel like it could just chop people out all day with these little wicks down and then run back up because they've been doing that. You could see in the price action they did it here. Like they almost did it here, equal bottoms. So like they're messing with people here. They took this low right here and then they ran it up. So they could easily do something like that. It's been a tricky little range. But we're under VWAP, so oh, you're talking about. Well, look, you also have this head and shoulders too. Look at this right here. Like we were talking about this earlier. I was saying this could be a head and shoulders in the bear flag. So it's like we have a mini head and shoulders inside of a head and shoulders. So like the right shoulder is a head and shoulder. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't look great. Like there's a lot of things saying that this is probably going to come down. I just need confirmation. Just because we're so close to this high, I feel like I need to see a little something. Just prove it to me. That's all. I don't want to be someone's. I don't want to be X liquidity or I could be a trap trader. Like that's. So I'm done with those days. Zcash is crossing again. Sorry if you can hear my alerts. We'll watch BTC. Let me see. I'm getting all the way down to the 1 minute. You see his volume fading still. Not on the 15. There it is. See if it breaks back into the pattern. If it breaks back into the pattern, it's probably coming down. If it can hold this high, maybe it'll try it just one more time. Ugh. I don't even know if they have Zcash on any exchanges. I actually do. There it goes. Let's see what happens. Is BTC coming down? Told you, first pass, and there's no way it's breaking through. I just thought it might go up a little higher too, but later, Robert. I'll see you in the morning, dude. We'll make some. I'm gonna be trading New York tomorrow. I'll probably be late to the party like I always am. I'm always late to New York. Yeah, this thing's about to run. COI is about to run. Let me go back to Zcash though. Oh, right back to the bottom of the pattern. Call that. Let's see now. If it loses this pattern, it's coming down. Like it's probably gonna come take some of this low out 355, and it's probably gonna make its way back down here if it loses that down to 324. This short plays out. Just remember who called it. Tell Ben, because I know he's probably drinking Modelo's and watching. Well, the Timberwolves are probably the game's probably over. He said he was having a chill night. I told him I was trying to get him to come on the stream with me. There it goes. Come on. I'm in the short already, by the way. I'm in profit. I got in up here. I didn't want. I obviously was. I told you I wasn't gonna tell you when I got in, but now that I'm in it, I'm in profits. Yeah, I got in up here. Is BTC breaking down? Gotta go check BTC real quick. Nah, it's chilling. They ain't doing anything. I'm gonna show you another trade I'm in right now. So I'm in 2 trades right now, and this one's killing it for me right now. So this is Desync, Destra Network. It's a super low cap. It's like $100 million market cap. It's actually less than that, 70 million now. This is the low. This is like the all-time low. This is the wick that it put in on that Friday where everything went down and crashed. Over the weekend, we filled the wick. We actually came down last night, filled the wick, and then we started to close back above. When we actually broke this high right here on the 4 hour, I actually got a position because it broke the trend and it broke that high. This trend's not clean, by the way. It was a better trend. It was something like this. You can even argue this is the trend, right? Either way, there was another trend I was tracking. Might have been this one here. was just watching for a break. So got back in. It was basically an SFP play. And I got in right around there. And I think I'm up. Let me see where I'm up right now. So I'm up 14% on this one. That's just the move. I'm actually in on a 4x on this one. Because it was so close, I just put my stop under here. Really tight in validation. So I'm up about 60% on this trade. And I got in this morning, like 4 in the morning or something like that. 5 in the morning. So that's a fun trade for me. Let me go back to, I'm going back to Zcash. This thing is super volatile. It's like a, you have to really know what you're doing type of coin. There we go, Zcash. All right, so it's starting to reclaim. So if it reclaims this, I'm probably out. I'll close my short out if it manages to hold above this. Actually, I think I'm gonna close half out now. Just take profits, lock some in. Up 7% on this one already, 8%. I went in on low leverage. I went in on like a 5x. It's not that much. But I closed half out just in case. Yeah, see. Kind of glad I closed it out now. Well, I'm out of this trade. It was an easy couple percent. I can always get back in it if it decides it's going to break down from this trend. Right, let's say it puts in a lower high and it starts to break this trend, I can get a better entry there. And then I can run it down. The idea is you get a quick SFP, you get a quick move, and you're done. If you caught this thing up here, like I did, it was about 2% move. If you would have used some leverage on it, you might have got a really good trade. I didn't use a lot of leverage though. Quick little scalp. Anything else you guys want to see? I'm just kind of chilling. I'm probably not going to try. I'm going to put this on my watch list, but I don't know if I'm going to trade this again. If it pushes up again, it's probably going to break because it's swept the liquidity, so maybe it's going to go a little higher. So we have to keep an eye on that one. COAI looks like it might be getting a pullback soon. It's got bear divs right here on the 5 highs and momentum shifting down, so that's a bearish divergence. Could be a little pullback coming on COAI. I'm still going to be watching this level. I think this is the level I want to see, like this 5.7, 5.8. If that holds, I'm probably game to look for a long down there. It might not happen tonight. But I still think we're going to pull back into FOMC. I think some coins will probably just chop around, and I think down on their supports. But I think I think BTC is going to pull back into it. Just feels right. If we're going to have like a bullish October, it needs to have a little reset, take back some of this weekend liquidity that they've built up, and that just makes sense to me. And I could be wrong, but like maybe they'll come up, grab this high, false move Monday, right? We're pumping up. False move Monday, run it down into FOMC, and then get the midweek reversal, and then we finish off October, close October pretty bullish, and then I think we see BTC really break its all-time high in November. If that happens, I think we break the all-time high in November, and then I think alts will run shortly after. I think you'll see alts start to really run mid-November. ETH will probably put its high in sometime in December, and then I think we'll see maybe like maybe like a month or two of like alt season if we're lucky. That's usually what we get. I mean, we got last year we got about 6 7 weeks of all of pump, but only I'd say 5. Yeah, we got 6 weeks of alt season less, or no, it wasn't even an alt season, which is all rally. So anywhere from like six to like 12 weeks maybe if we're lucky. We'll get on the later end because 12 weeks will probably put us out to February, March, depending on when it starts. Ooh, BTC's pushing. Maybe there's a long here. Oh, we missed it. I already said I didn't want a long up here. Yeah, I think, look, if it can't, it already invalidated the head and shoulders, by the way. So that's gone. This one's still valid. The mini one's invalidated. So I would look at, could be this too, right? Could be what we were doing. We could be just forming one of these. Just a little bit of a wedge. We're going to pop up, take this liquidity, right? Take whatever's up here, and then run down. I think there's a short when we get up here, by the way. Just straight up, I'm just saying. I don't think we break this on the first try. Just like we didn't break here. And I'm going to show you all the examples of why this works. When we got to this high, we hit it, we pulled back. When we got to this high, boom, we hit it, we grabbed liquidity, we pulled back. Like, you could see it everywhere in the charts. Like, that's all we do. We just hit a level, we grab liquidity on the first or second attempt, and then eventually we do break through. But until that happens, you just have to assume that it's gonna reject the first pass. Your probabilities of winning if you just short the first, and we're not talking about 15-minute resistance or 20-minute resistance or like hour. We're talking about daily level resistance. Like, this is a daily resistance. The first pass is likely going to get rejected. Doesn't mean always, but there's a very good likelihood of it. So I'm waiting for that SFP. I think that's like the real short I was looking for. This was like my plan B if plan A didn't work out. So, but I'm not longing. It just makes no sense to long up here. It's going. I don't think it does, Rich, if I'm being honest. I don't think you can drop screenshots. Toss it in the Discord. Throw it in the Discord. Now, just let me know where you put it, and then I can check. I'll just look on my phone or on another screen. We might get a little pump here. They are running it up. Zcash. Let me go see Zcash is doing real quick while BTC does its thing. Oh, this thing's gonna break down, dude. If this thing puts a lower high in and loses this low here, I'm definitely taking the trade because then it'll have a 5-minute structure shift. You'll probably get a more sustainable move if this thing does that. Like, it's gotta lose this low right here. loses that low, if it puts like a lower high in right like this and comes down, 5 minute structure shift, then you can take that's a juicy short. That's the original short. SFP was just kind of like a quick scalp, because then you know it's probably coming to take all this back down to 355, so that'd be a nice little scalp to take down. I'm gonna throw an alert on this one down here. So let me double check where the 618 is at. This is COAI, by the way. So look, this is our golden pocket. I'm gonna set an alert on the 618, and then I'm setting alerts because I'm probably not gonna stay up and try to catch all these. But if I do wake up in the morning and I see the alert hasn't gone off, maybe there's still a trade. In case I forget. Let's see, BTC still pumping. I should have stayed in super. That's how ETH's doing. Ooh, ETH looks a little toppy too. ETH's an SFP. Check this out. Is that a 4-hour high? It is a 4-hour wick. That is a 4-hour high. Is it a daily high? No, it's not. Alright, so ETH, I think it's risky. You probably could get a little bit of a pullback here, but I think this is the juicier zone to look for an SFP. It's probably going to be this high on ETH if you do trade Ethereum. You probably get a better pullback there. Let me go check some couple charts to see if this pullback is making sense. So this is USDT dominance. When this is going down, usually the market's moving up, like the Bitcoin market. But if this is pumping up, then that means Bitcoin and the altcoins are coming down. Right now, it just says down on the medium time frames. Let me see what the indicators say. I mean, yeah, it looks like it's just down for now. I think we're going to trend up. I probably wouldn't short anything just yet. Unless you're catching SFPs on like fucking Zcash or something. I think we're probably gonna get that pump first before we go down at this point. Now that I'm looking at everything. See what others looks like. I mean, others is starting to get a little. It's not even near resistance yet on the 4-hour. Others still has a little bit of a move up. I think 275 is really our target, and then we look for a pullback. Maybe 275. Maybe it gets back up to 283. These are the two levels I'd be looking at on others. So when others gets to these levels, if you see like a sharp rejection or an SFP, and you're in an altcoin trade, you may want to take profits. Or we take profits going into it before it does all that, maybe. Let me see what gold's doing. Look at gold. Remember we talked about that bear flag? Looks like it's getting ready to break down. Gold's probably a great hedge play right now. 1-hour trigger wave right here. Yeah, gold's probably definitely a good hedge play. If it breaks down here, I would short gold. Just have a short opened up. Yeah, I think this could be a good one. Did you drop it in the chat, Rich? Or drop it in the Discord? I'm gonna go check now. Brian Short. I believe that one. That's good. It's probably not even a bad move. Oh, I got you, Rich. I got you. So like more time, more when you have looking for times to share. I got you. Yeah, it's weird, man. Like YouTube doesn't let you do all that. So I wish they did, but I guess at the same time, if you could send screenshots and photos, like yeah, you'd probably be seeing a lot of weird stuff they probably don't want to see on YouTube. I can only imagine streaming and getting like vulgar pictures from people. That would suck. I think Zcash is about to crack, man. This thing's coming down, I think. Come on, give me that 5 minute structure shift. BTC, I'm not even worried about BTC until it gets back to that high. We'll know when it gets up there. It's 115,900. I can see it on my side here. I think this is going to be the trade I want to try to get into if it does break. I guess I could have held that SFP, but I really didn't want to do that. I like to take profits because you never know. If I'm quiet, I'm just reading stuff on the in the Discord right now. I'm posting my Zcash. I'm posting my Zcash win. I want to talk shit to Ben. I'm like, see, I can win trades and stream. Yeah, BTC's about to go. It's gonna take this high. It's probably gonna break out soon. Dude, I got a camera coming in because I'm been using my laptop camera. It's not really like anything special, so I'm getting like a nice little better webcam. I gotta get a backdrop. Right now I don't have like my office set up right for the backdrop. I have like a bunch of bullshit in my background, so I'm just not even like. That's why I'm not really like using a webcam like that. It like slows your computer down when you do like the background, like the AI, like the effects background. It doesn't really work too well. So I think once I get that set up, I'll probably get it set up this week sometime. I don't know. Maybe I'll make myself look smart, and I'll just put some of my trading textbooks and books behind me or something like that, like everybody else does. It's not gonna look cool like Ben's because he's got the big tactical edge trading sign in the back of his. He's got his little boom mic and his little studio set up. Mine's simple. I don't really. I had no intentions on streaming when till like honestly till like last week. I think last week I was like, all right, I'm gonna start streaming. I didn't really had no like. You would have asked me 2 months ago, I'd be like, hell no. There's no way I'll do that. But now I'm doing it. I don't know. Somebody planted a seed and convinced me. I don't know how, but they did it. What's up, J Mag? He missed all the good CA, dude. Like my first hour and a half, I went through some bangers, dude, for this week. Some bangers. So if you watch this thing back, you can probably skip everything after the first hour, 15 minutes, hour and a half. Like it's all like all the good charts and all the setups I'm watching are there. Everything after that's just me kind of like fucking around. But I think BTC is gonna come to this high, dude. I'm looking for a short up here, bro. I think that's the easy pickings. We look for a sweep maybe up to 116.2, 116.3. Speaking of which, let's check the liquidity. We haven't looked at the liquidity heat map in a little bit since Asia opened, really. So this is like the pockets above us. So we got a little bit at 115.6. They're gonna take that. I think this is the area we're looking for, 116.7, 116.6. Looking for some of this area to get swept. And then I think they're gonna come down to that level we are talking about. So I think this level is gonna still get hit. I'm gonna go back to the 3 day. This is just like the 3 day chart on BTC, but with like the liquidation. I think 109.3 is the area they're gonna come back down to at some point this week. Whether they do it before or after or during FOMC, I think they're going to hit this spot. I just don't see a world where we don't come back down a little bit. But in the meantime, I think we're probably gonna go for this 115.6, which is this wick high right here, and then maybe probably go up into this 116 area. It just depends of whether Asia wants to do it or it's going to be London. But I mean, the 15's gearing up for a move. It looks like they want to go for it soon. So we'll see. Yeah, dude, I got four stocks brand new. It's like Apple, Microsoft, Meta, and what was the other one? God, I can't remember. Amazon, I think. I might have said Amazon already. But anyway, they all have earnings this week. And then NASDAQ, I went over the S&P. Those are nothing special with those ones. You have the Palantir, Nvidia trade. I don't even think I talked about those ones. But the first four are all bangers. And then we went into like an Altseason explanation. I think I talked about a dozen alts and Bitcoin. So kind of gave my whole analysis on everything. Yeah, dude. I mean, dude, it just made sense. It made sense to start streaming because it was like, all right, I can at least do the stream. I don't have to, if I want to just give my analysis, I just give my analysis and jump off. If there's no trading to be done, instead of sitting in a Discord for 2 hours, 3 hours, and sometimes we get no action. At least here I can like choose to like be on for as long as I want to. If not, I just do a quick market analysis. We have a recording of it. If somebody's not there, they can see it the next day, and then we can move on. And then yeah, I think it was a good idea. I had the camera on earlier too. I just turned it off after a while. It was like slowing my PC down. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna turn it off for a little bit. Plus, I want to focus more on TA. I did it for like the first hour and a half. I think the camera was on. Little test run. Give everybody a taste of what I look like. It's like when you have an ugly face like mine, you have to really you have to ease people into it. You got to kind of it's like you don't just jump in the water. You got to dip your toes a little bit, kind of get the shock factor out there. Yeah, but right now I'm looking for a short, hard to long up here. Looking for a short up here somewhere, SFP, or I'm looking for a breakdown. And I want to try to short it back down to like 113.5, 114 maybe. It's going to be tough though. They're just the momentum straight up right now. And with the 15 looking like that, I just don't see. It's hard to just want to short unless I see like a good fast move. Yeah, dude, Arrow's a banger. BNB. Caught a short on Zcash. I'm actually looking for a short still on this thing. So check this out, JMag. I don't know if you saw this one yet. So Zcash just tapped. It's all-time high from last cycle. So it just got up there. We caught a little like 2%er. Wasn't anything crazy. It was just the initial reaction off of it right here. Little SFP down to the bottom of the pattern. The real move I'm looking for is about to happen. This is what I'm really looking for. I'm looking for the 5-minute structure shift right here, which we're about to get. And I'm looking for the breakdown a little bit deeper. I think an area to target would be this low around 355. It'll be an easy little target. You just expect them to come take that liquidity. But realistically, if they really wanted to, since they wanted to come back hard on this thing, and they could bring this thing back down to, let me see. I mean, theoretically, they could come all the way back down and grab this if they wanted to. They could grab, they can come back down to 313. Those are deeper retracements, though. I think I'm going to try to catch another trade on this. Just need to see that break of structure. It's starting to look a little bit like a head and shoulders, too, here. Just want to see what the volume looks like. Is the volume fading? Not really. It's not giving me the most utmost confidence. Missed the beard show. Dude, when I did law enforcement before, they made me shave. I hated it. You don't understand being a Middle Eastern, like half, half Palestinian man. Like we're like we have thick beards. We don't have like those little we don't have those like little stubble like beards. Not stubble, like just those thin patchy beards. No, we got like that thick coarse hair. It's horrible shaving because like you get like the worst razor burn and my hair grows back so fast. So I was like shaving every other day. I had to shave every day actually. What am I talking about? But it was like chopping down trees, man. I kind of envy people that don't have to freaking do fucking like trim their beard and their mustache constantly. Must be nice. Yeah, yeah. He said puberty hit you hard. Dude, seriously. It's funny, man. Like every time people see me now, like family members and stuff, they're always like, "Damn, dude, you got a lot of gray hairs in your beard now." And I'm like, I just turned 37. And I'm like, yeah, man, I live a stressful life. I don't know what to tell you. Try trading crypto, it'll turn your hairs gray too. That's all I always make that joke. It's like, I was like, when you like work a stressful job, you're like bound to have, you're bound to get some grays. Hey Jay, man, check out this trade I called. Remember that trade I called the other day? I don't know if you're paying attention. It was that COAI. Called it down here. Look what look what this shit did, dude. Show you on a daily real quick. I don't even know where the chart is. There it is. So from where I called it at $5, it ran back up in like 4 or 5 days, back up to $20, and right back down to 5, $6. They are destroying people on this coin, man. This thing is like the new fart coin. I'm actually looking for a long again down here. I was telling everybody, I was like, look, we got a one out, we got a shift here on the 15. That's what I had last time, was a 15-minute shift. I'm looking for a back test back down here into the golden pocket, maybe, the previous high that it broke. I'm looking for a back test somewhere around there to put a higher low in and continue up. I think they're just going to mess around with this one for a little bit. But technically, put a higher low in, and it actually never took all the liquidity, just tapped it. So, yeah, man, they're playing this thing like a fucking fiddle. Might be a trade, dude. I was scared when I took it. I'll be honest with you guys. When I called that trade out, I was so nervous. There's one thing about taking a trade by yourself, but when you give the trade to the group and it's a really risky trade like this, and I was like, oof, I'm like kind of nervous about this one, but it actually played out like way better than I thought. Like way better. I'm looking for Aster to do the same thing. If Aster can get up there, I think we have a really good shot with this one. Did the same thing. Back down to its 786 fib. It's got the initial bounce. I'm looking for the inverse head and shoulders to form. So we're losing this put a pretty good high in, right? We broke this previous 4-hour high. So we broke the 4-hour level. So now we're just looking for a pullback, and then I'm looking for an inverse head and shoulders to hopefully form, tapping into this golden pocket here. And if that happens, I mean, I'm gonna take this trade. And my target's gonna be the same, man. I think with BNB running, I think you can't fade the BNB ecosystem. My target's gonna be up here somewhere in this $2 area. So that's my next big trade. I think I'm gonna look for. In the short term, it's probably a short. If I had to guess, it's already coming down. Had that back test. Yeah, it's coming down. Broke trend. Probably going to run back down to $1.05. Maybe it stops at $1.10 for a little bit. Zcash is breaking down. I just need to see this thing break right here. Oh, dude, you see the wick they just put in? It already broke down. Oh, oh my god! Look at the wick. It was like right where I said it was gonna go. I was like, it's gonna take all that. Damn, dude, I should have got in this thing. Ah, so mad about that. There might be opportunity now. I don't know for sure, but wow, that's volatile. That's insane. That was fast. Oh, it's coming back down. Oh yeah, it's coming back down. There's your short for the night, guys. Yeah, they're gonna run this down hard. Told you, first pass at this fucking all-time high. They're 100% gonna fucking SFP it. Anybody take that trade? So here's what I'm thinking, J Mag. Kind of like my big theory on this. I think we pull back into it. I think if we're gonna do what we did last cycle, remember what happened right around the beginning of like end of October, beginning of November, we had the election. And what did the markets do? The markets pumped up to a few days into that event, and they pulled back super hard. I think that's what we're gonna get. I think if we pump into FOMC, I think we're gonna dump after. So I'm really, really hoping, and this is just like my personal opinion. I'm hoping we dump going into it hard, like really hard, like down to some of like the 109 for BTC, maybe the alts, put a higher lows in some of the stronger ones, maybe some of the weaker ones finally hit those liquidity zones that they missed. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Zcash, it's not available on Mexi. I actually traded it on a different exchange. It should be available on XC. Let me go see. Probably only perps though. It's a weird because it is a privacy coin, so a lot of places do find reasons to ban those things. No, it's there, dude. It's on Mexi. It's on perps. It's on BidFi too, I think. I'll tell you right now. It is not on BidFi. So it is on Mexi though. So you could trade it there. I am short again, by the way. I I saw what I want to see. When it went back, man, I had to do it. Remember what I said we was looking for, right? We're looking for the 5-minute structure shift and then the back test. We literally got that within like this 1 wick. But it closed and then a back test. So I was like, I'm going to take a crack at it. I don't even know if I should be talking about that on YouTube. Yeah, it's on Mexi. You just got to look for perps. You should type in ZEC USD. It should pop up. Just checking it. Sorry, I was muted for a second. I was saying London's in about 2 hours. I don't know if I'm going to stay up for that though, but there's probably going to be a nice move in London. I think Asia's kind of fucking around a little bit, but I think they're setting up London to make a move. Probably up into this high or breakdown. So either way. No worries, man. This move might have been done already. I'm on the 1 minute though. Don't trust the 1 minute. Probably best staying on the 15 with this kind of token. If you really want to see. I mean, it still looks like it's going to come down. Yeah, they grabbed that, but did they really? Yeah, I guess they came down almost to one. I did say 355. They should just went right down. That's crazy. This thing's volatile. I didn't realize how volatile it was. Glad I didn't use high leverage. Yeah, dude, there's like, I'm pretty sure I'm allowed to talk about trading or taking trades on YouTube. CryptoFace fucking has trades open for millions of dollars. And I mean, you got traders doing that all the time or YouTubers doing that. Not many, though, because not many of them are actual traders. They won't do that. Most of them have no clue what they're doing. You know, my favorite person, though, to watch, though, is live. Dude, Dude, I love watching. I used to love watching Crypto Lifer, just because he's like it was just funny watching him like draw these stupid little 1 minute bull flags and get so hype over his $300 trades. I'm like, all right, whatever, man. He's like an entertainer. Like that's what he does. It's just funny. Like, some people are just characters. But I mean, I don't know, off the top of your head, guys, how many like actual like real traders do you know on YouTube? Like people that are like legit trading. I can't really think of many. I guess my target's gonna be, I would say a safe target on this trade. It's probably bounced off the 382, right? So if you're looking for a look, that's 382 is the 355. Okay. So this is probably, look, if it starts to come back down here to reclaim this wick, let's say this is probably going to be the safe place to get out of this trade if you're just scalping, like somewhere down here. You got to imagine there's going to be a little bit of a reaction here. And if it does just blow right through here, I would definitely take some profits at this low. It's kind of what I'm thinking. That's probably my plan at least. Probably shave some off going into this 618. Wait, did we? No, daylight savings is not till next week. I'm pretty sure it's next weekend. I hope it's not this weekend. You might be right. I don't even know. No, it's Sunday, November 2nd, so it's next weekend. Yeah, we don't. You had me scared for a second, dude. I was like, wait, did I? Because Asia normally opens. Yeah, Asia opens 9:30. Well, Tokyo opens at 9:30 Eastern, but it'll probably open back up. It'll go back to 8:30 in the morning. Yeah. So what time's it in? Wait, you guys. What do you guys move ahead or back? Do you guys have daylight savings too? Yeah. I hate daylight savings. I wish they got rid of that stuff. It just drives me nuts. Like you're sitting there just like waiting. Like, why do we have to put? Why would we have to go back an hour? Why don't we just keep the clocks the same? Like we just keep the clocks the same and we don't have to deal with all that bullshit. It sucks as a trader because then like now the market shifts. So like your daily candle close is no longer at 8 o'clock. It's gonna be at 7 o'clock now. So we have to like adjust to like the daily candle closes. Tokyo still says that like Tokyo does, they don't believe in it in Asia. They don't do daylight savings over there. So like when we do daylight saving, we have to adjust, their time stay the same. We pull back. So now Tokyo becomes 8:30 for the US, like Eastern instead of 9:30, which is good because then like you can get like London will be at 2 o'clock then for us. So London will open at 2 a.m. instead of 3 a.m. So it's easier to catch the London Asia crossover. Do you guys have any news this week over in Europe? I thought I saw something on the calendar for Europe. You have CPI. You do have a monetary policy statement on Thursday. Okay, what are you guys expecting? Monetary policy. So they're expecting remains flat in Europe. Just a euro, I think. I guess we're looking for the GBP, which I think they already had their rate cut. Let's see what BTC is doing. All right. Could be a little bit of a pullback coming. Back down to VWAP again. It's a little far from VWAP, isn't it? It's like 200 bucks. I don't know. Take that trade though. Probably best to just set BTC out for now. I'm focusing on my Zcash trade. This thing's gonna print. I'm telling you, it's gonna print. I can feel it. Like it's gonna hit that golden pocket at least. Like this wick, they're definitely taking this wick back. That happened way too fast for them not to come back for that wick. I need to get Brian on here with me. If I get Brian to like live stream with me sometime, dude, it's just gonna be the conversations are gonna be great. That's all I could say. It probably won't even be about TA. It's just gonna be about other stuff. If I get Brian to start storytelling, oh my god, it's gonna be great. I don't know if he's listening or not. You jump in the short, Rich. You had a pretty good back test here. That would have been a good opportunity on this little pump right here to probably get in. Could still come up a little bit more. Yeah, there it goes. Figured it was going to back test a little harder. It could technically fill all that red candle. This entire candle. It can grab all of it if it really wants to. and still be in bearish, 5-minute bearish structure or bearish downtrend. Just have to watch, make sure it doesn't start breaking back into this. It would be weird if it did, but if it starts breaking back into this pattern, you'd have to imagine that like it's probably not worth getting. It's probably worth getting out of. Like I don't want to see this. It's like I don't want to see it come back up into here and start doing this. Like it starts doing something like that. You have to imagine there's a good chance it could make its way back up a little higher up, and then it's not worth holding a short like that. You just draw down too much. For me, my stop's like right above this level here, this 355.70. If they, because like I'm in from right here, so I just do my stop right there. So it's a really tight invalidation. Like I'll show you what it looks like. So I'm in like right around here. So like even if I was just targeting this wick down here, just this wick, I still have a 7-to-1 risk reward ratio. So 7 R's to 1. And if I target down here to 618, which I'll probably do 50-50. If it gets down here, I'm going to take half profits, and I'll probably take the other half down there. That's a 50. That's 11-to-1. So let's go in the tool. I want to mess around with this. Got nothing better to do. How do I know I can set this. I should figure out how to do it. There it is, inputs. Alright, so risk 25%. Account size. I want to see something real quick. Leverage. Let's go 1,000. Size 1. Not doing 1,000 leverage, I'm doing, say, 5x. Alright, so like let's say I put $1,000 on this trade. I'm risking 25 bucks to make $279. Alright, if I just do the wick, I'm risking 25 to make 182 bucks. That's just 1,000 bucks if you were taking this trade with that, based on this risk reward ratio. Even if I target at this low here, I'm still making basically making 4-to-1. So it's like it's a easy risk to reward. Yeah, Rich. Appreciate you hanging out, man. I'm probably gonna close up shop pretty soon too. Couple minutes. I just want to see if this trade breaks this low real quick, and then I'm gonna probably just set some TPs like I said in those areas here, here. But if it breaks this low here, I'm gonna set my stop loss at break even. I want to see this low taken again. It's like kind of like this wick, but really down here. If it gets back below this, I can move my stop technically to here, and it'll be okay. So once this happens, break that low there. Even if it comes back up, market structure would still be down. So I can take my stop loss. This is how I like to trade. You can trade any way you want. I could just basically take the stop and then move it to like right here. And then instead of it being up here where it's at now, or I could put it at break even. So I can do it either way. And that's probably like the last thing I'll do before I go to bed. So I'm just checking some coins real quick. There's a chance it pumps up and stops me out still. I'm not out of the woods yet. Let's see what the hourly is telling me. Oof. Hourly still pointed down. All right, y'all, I'm going to pack it in. It's 1 o'clock. I'm going to be up for New York in the morning to trade. If you're watching, check us out at Tactical Edge Trading Discord. We have a trading group. We live trade every morning. Links are below. Y'all have a good night, everybody. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Later.